Hey guys, welcome to the close. Thanks so much, Brad. We'll take you right through to the end of the session at 4 o'clock. Going to be an interesting afternoon here. Lots to discuss as we see some weakness come back into tech markets, specifically in growth stocks. Specifically coming off that second inflation number out this morning. If you remember, the PPI number actually a little better than expected on both fronts, the year over year and monthly number, the CPI number yesterday basically in line with expectations. There you go, though. 0.5% for the S&P. Dow still positive. NASDAQ leads 0.13 or 1.3, I should say, to the downside right now. We went red here in Toronto as well. TSX back to negative territory. Same story for cryptos at the bottom there. About 2.5 for both Ethereum and Bitcoin. There's the lay of the land right now for the S&P 500. Tech stocks up here in the top right corner here. It is the software makers and semiconductors doing most of the damage right now. Hardware equipment makers holding up ever so slightly. HPE there with a nice day, 2%. NTAP as well, 2%. Western Digital about 1% to the upside. Healthcare stocks, lots of negativity. Moderna, 5%. Tech there, MTD Bio to name a few, 3 to 5%. Biogen though offsetting after the huge move we saw in Biogen yesterday to the downside. Consumer discretionary names outside of Etsy, and look, Amazon there, 1.8%. Pretty positive right across the board. Tesla having a tough day, 4%, but GM, Ford, BWA, all 4% higher, offsetting that. And then some airlines showing strength. We're going to talk about Boeing coming up here after that news this morning. But there's AAL, UAL, Dow, and Alaska all 3% to the upside. Quick look at the NASDAQ here before we get into some trades. Yeah, Tesla 4% downside. Moderna, as I mentioned, 5% to the downside. Some of the Chinese stocks having trouble today as well. There's JD, 6%. In negative territory, going to be, as I mentioned, interesting afternoon here. We have a bit of a bounce underway right now for the overall market. Individual stocks trying as well to get back higher. We're going to kick things off with a look at some of the stocks we talked about in the morning. If you joined us at 8:30, lots of opportunity this morning. It was back and forth at the open, if you remember, pretty choppy. But if you pick your spots, lots of opportunity. Neil's going to lead us off here with a look at one of his trades.
Yes, sir, and it might be Virgin Orbit that's launching tonight, but it's Virgin Galactic this morning we're going to talk about and review because they had a senior notes offering up to $425 million. For this type of market, if you're not making money, they're not making money. If you are a hyper valuation type of name, you're going to be in trouble. So already leaning into the short side. When you have an offering, you're likely to be going to the downside. And sometimes it is very, very tricky when you see something that has already done this from 1250, breaking multiple support levels, and you come in the pre-market and it is already down so heavily, but you do not want to take the long, what do? You have to find yourself a way to structure a short. I had a couple of ideas this morning. The first one did not come into fruition. I did want to try to short a pop into 1150, a little bit closer into these levels, previous support, and it never got there. But I did note some barcoding in the pre-market right around like 1095. Bit of a key level. I figured if it broke that down, I should want a short trade. Now, if you miss out, I missed out on a rollover, I missed out on the breakdown, the only thing left at that point was the one level I could find, and if you come all the way back and it's just right on the initial pop to the downside, it would have been that first flush in the pre-market holding at 1080. It's the pre-market low that led to that push. So once I've missed out on it, there's only one thing for me to wait for, and that's to see if that level is held up on the first bounce. So we get the flush, we miss it all, and then you do see it bounce. Try to test back towards that 1080 area, end up shorting it here just in front of 1070 at 68. And at that point, there's no targets on Virgin Galactic. Interesting, if you were to look at a daily chart, you're going to pull it up, and there's gaps all the way to like $9 for support levels. So it became as simple as once I determined that it was forming a bit of a wedge here, I did take some out at the 50 mark. I was thinking first out would be 25, and then I'm just holding it. Because at that point, I'm looking 10 quarters, make a fresh low. As a matter of fact, still shorting it into the close. I have no reason to get out of it unless it bounces back to the upside. It's going to break 10 or it's going to be bust. At the end of the day, there are some names that you just have to be willing, if it's a strong stock, buy high, sell higher. And if it's a weak stock, short low and sell and buy back even lower. That's just the way it is sometimes. I know it can be a difficult thing to do because our inclination is you'll want to catch that dip. You'll want to buy that bottom. You want to be able to predict that it's going to reverse. It can't always be that way. There were lots of opportunities today with Virgin Galactic, and I just know after missing out on 2 obvious short trades, sticking to your guns, understanding which name you wanted to be involved in. It was on our watch list for a reason. Stick to it. Find an entry point. Find a trade that you can predetermine your entry and exits that works for your risk reward. So we managed to do it here with Virgin Galactic. Let us know. Always curious to see how anybody else traded. Certainly there was that chance when it broke that barcoding level. I'm hoping somebody got it off of that level. Lots moving in these markets, and Virgin Galactic probably will not stop going down anytime soon.
And that is why we go over everything that's moving around in the pre-market, guys. Yeah, just watching space here continuing to the downside. We'll also have a look at Bed Bath & Beyond having a huge move today on some insider buying. That's the link to the watch list, guys. If you're in need of a absolutely free resource, we send it out before we come on every morning at 8:30, so you can pick that up. Miss V will help you out in the chat with that. Miss V back tomorrow. BBBY here, guys. Before we jump into anything else, going crazy today, there was an SEC filing after market yesterday suggesting some executives picking up a whole bunch of shares, suggesting, a lot of people then kind of going with that, suggesting that some of this short talk that has surrounded this is maybe a little bit better, the short situation a little bit better, but huge move up here. We had a big kind of crescendo, I guess, for volume at 16, coming back in pretty hard, but can we have that? There we go, thanks guys. That's 16 up there. Coming back in pretty hard now though, but nice day for Bed Bath & Beyond, guys.
Yeah, what a monster Bed Bath & Beyond has been on. I don't know what kind of like crack they're smoking or what, but Bed Bath & Beyond, oops, it's BBBBY right there. So went all the way up to what? Like how far did that thing go up today?
16.
Yeah, 16 and change before turning around. So up to 16.20 there for Bed Bath & Beyond. We've already talked about Beyond Meat, and we actually, follow. I put out a pretty nice reel there. Shout out to my wife for that one. But Beyond Meat's up crazy on short squeezes. And if I just missed whatever Brendan said. Something's a little hard to hear. But Beyond, Bed Bath & Beyond, again, another name. We'll just check it out here on our Trade Ideas. Shout out to Michael Noss and friends over there at Trade Ideas. But let's see what they have here. Look at the short float, guys. Boom, 47? 7% on short for Bed Bath & Beyond. So yeah, that's a name that you got to watch out for these rips. And I don't really know how to find these other than look at that short. And today, Bed Bath & Beyond starting to go. We'll have to find out when their earnings date is. It was probably right on there on that Trade Ideas. But I believe it's people just getting ready to rock and roll there in case earnings comes out. And earnings could be bad or good, and this thing could still rip up. It's just a matter of exposure. So watch out for Bed Bath & Beyond. And then the one that I tweeted out early for today was Beyond Meat. And they're still upside as well today, still near the highs of the day. Considering what the damage the market did today, Beyond Meat still rocking and rolling up to 72.50. So, hey, maybe some of the squeeze names are back in play. I remember Rocket Companies was a name that I was involved in and made a little bit of cash on a short squeeze as well. So this could be, I don't know, it's not going to be up. I was going to say it's not going to be up that much. I haven't heard anybody talk about it. But if you want to find another name that's maybe a little bit depressed, and I'm going to find out what the short interest is on this name. Whoever was short this is right. But this is, again, I remember clear as day, basically back in March, February, when a lot of names were going nuts. This is another one, Rocket Companies. They declared a special $1 dividend. I'm not going to forget it because I was in this trade all the way to the upside there. Big time movement, and as you can see, faded all the way down, back down to all-time lows, basically, for Rocket Company. So let's call that up just real quick. Bear with me 1 second here. I will use the Trade Ideas one more time to shout that out. A great platform. Tools, you go to new, you go to single stock window, and it pops open this bad boy. And I'm just going to type in here Rocket, just to see if this is another name that potentially has a short. Yeah, now it's only 10%. I was going to say, is there another name that's a relatively large float that has a chance to go? It's not going to be Rocket. Is it going to be BlackBerry maybe? BB, let's see what NAS, shortfall 6%. So we'll do a little bit of research. Let me know if there's any other names like this. But BBBY, Neil, 47%, craziness.
Yeah, these are insane. I think, look, 10, 15%, we do see those. And those are pretty big when you see 10 to 15%. But yeah, that's a large number. And in this environment where there's not a lot going up, for when the bulls are looking to drive and take a stock to the upside, sometimes on a day like today, it's going to be that type of a name. It is such a linear climb, too. Like, if you were to look at this with a trend line, it really hasn't broken any trends. I would say, at least for now, looking at that 16, it's just an even dollar. Like I said, you haven't really broken a trend back, but back below this 16 level, were it to make a consolidation here, there is a chance that it could roll back into VWAP off of this lower consolidation. But that's not a parabolic mover. If it was, I would more likely be trying to trade it. I don't even think I had any serious notions of getting into it, although we do have the IPO was today, so we're watching that pretty heavily. But Bed Bath & Beyond, crazy runner. At no point does this look like an out of control long. There was one moment here just after we finished the morning show at 11 where that looked like it was a bit parabolic into 15, but it's been pretty steady Eddie all the way up.
Yeah, decent volume coming in as we get to day highs here on Bed Bath & Beyond as well. Let's talk about tech to lead things off here this afternoon. If you missed it this morning, PPI number, producer price. So the price that manufacturers pay to produce the goods that you and I purchase, 9.8% was the number they were expecting on the year over year. It's kind of tough to see there. There we go, that's better. 9.8% on the year over year number. Comes in 9.7% for December, month over month, 0.2, so better than expected versus 0.4 on the inflation front. But here we are, we see selling continue, selling resume, I guess is a better way to put it. In some of these tech names, even Apple down 1% here this afternoon, but back to the downside for a lot of these today.
Yeah, it was, to be honest, like when TSM, which had monster earnings and had that big move, when that at one point had given the entire breakout back, I think that sort of signaled you knew how serious the turnaround was in the market today, because you couldn't really ask for too much more. I mean, driving the semis up, and then if you go to the flip end of it, like, my goodness. Like, this is what was happening when in NVIDIA while that was going on. Like, NVIDIA just a straight shot to the downside. I mean, it was just the same way we just showed you Bed Bath & Beyond going up here. And NVIDIA, of course, has always been a high multiple stock and has always managed to produce. But it was straight down. Like, there was no pullback. There was no relief. It just went straight till about 11 o'clock at the end of the show, caught a little bit of a bounce, and we're still right back at some of these levels. So even with the market trying to come back in, it's like we got both doses of the inflation numbers. And there were I think there was a few other analysts saying that are going nuts, also saying, I should say, that they could get 4 hikes this year. I forget who it was. I mean, Goldman had already said that. There was another one this morning coming out with the same thing. But once again, tech under pressure. We had that rally the other day where it looked that bad in the morning and then it was just unbelievable off the bottom. You're asking a heck of a lot of the markets right now after the run that we were on last year with the new environment that we're in 2022. You're asking a heck of a lot of the markets to do that twice. So I think it's a struggle for it to get back up. I shorted a firm, I got in and out of that one on the first pop it had off the bounce, and I think there could be something similar today. I just don't know if we can break back through. I'd love to see it happen. But that was quite the momentum to the downside. Just the buyers weren't, on some of these names, the buyers weren't anywhere to be found.
No, we're short AMD right now. We already took a $3 winner, believe it or not, on that short. It just collapsed, and we're going to go short again on this name and see if it does work. But the real winner in the tech, craziness today was Snapchat winner, and we're talking about going short here. But Snapchat down 7%. We had it on the sticky note. It's Cowen. We were loving this short. Couldn't believe it actually popped up here. There's actually 2 reloads right there, and you could see out early. I mean, we didn't think the NASDAQ would continue this plummet down all the way today, but out right there on a 40 break. But wow, 41 40s, 40 shorts all the way down. We absolutely destroyed this name. Snapchat continues to be weak. I mean, look at the daily chart for Snapchat, man. Like, wow, just getting absolutely annihilated. And then Cohen today comes and is like, no, thank you, ma'am. Have another, because Snapchat today off earnings. Like, it's not earnings yet, but when earnings come down. This is what happened last earnings call. This big move down, blaming iOS for that. And again, it's just like they don't track as much information anymore in the iOS, I guess, ecosystem. So back down to the downside, probably sending shares of Twitter reeling as well. Today, I actually didn't look at this name, so this is just a guess. Down 2% is actually not that bad. And then, Palantir, is Palantir on the board? No, it's not. So we'll talk, Nikola was a fantastic trade. We'll get to that at the end. But Palantir, again, we tweeted this out as well. Be patient, right? We waited for Palantir. We missed this trade. We just missed it. And then when it came back in and gave us that same look again, we went long down here at 16.13, man, or 16.14, whatever it was. It gained 16 even, all the way to the upside. There is another buy in here when we took out, maybe I can zoom in a little bit more. Right in here, this is a buy when we took out that 25 level. Should have obviously held that, but we are really heavy in these shares. Scalped it out. Palantir just continues to be a scalping trade. We have a video out coming out about scalping. And, when you pick key levels and it jumps back to VWAP, again, we're not holding out hope that this is a big rally today. Tech's in trouble, and you can see that with many different names, including, how about Microsoft? Microsoft's a name, Brendan, that is well below the 50-period moving average and continues to make moves to the downside. Like, you're getting Microsoft down almost 3% today. Like, that is, to take one of Neil's words, or phrases, I guess, I don't know if this is looking a gift horse in the mouth or if there's lower moves coming for Microsoft, but something is wrong with this name. It's well below, and I just feel like, wow, to that one. That and Google. And we're talking, good, see, I'm glad because I'm on topic still today. The tech wreck continues with Google making a move down. And here we go, let's go, boom. On this one has AMD, we are short this name, and we just took a bid there for 48 more cents, guys. 48 more cents on the bid there as AMD starting to collapse. We reloaded right there, so the bangs come through today, and there goes AMD back down to the downside. We're loving life right now, but not as a long-term shareholder. Remember, I'm a big AMD bull, and today, man, it's just bear, bear, bear. So we go bearish on AMD, and you got to switch up the game sometimes, Brendan. We're bearish on big tech right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, we saw the Dow was in positive territory at the start of the 2 o'clock hour here, so you got to pick your spots correctly, and I say that because some of the big names, including Boeing, holding up nicely today on this report this morning. China mulling, giving them the green light for the 737 MAX to resume flights in China as soon as this month. This report saying no specific date given, but nice look for Boeing here. Actually trying to get back up to day highs even as we speak.
If you make stuff and sell stuff, and they're going to continue to be able to do so and make money, then you're going to do rather well today. And Boeing, of course, has been a bit of a recovery reopen type play anyways. Now, obviously, I'm going to complain about it, missed trades. You're going to hear me do it all the time because this was one I probably wasn't going to get on the dip. It just didn't quite come in. I was looking very, very closely. Again, throw out some of these breakouts. I like to look at, this previous 219 down to 218 level. That little cluster here on the good news. I'm like, that's the support area. And the way this market has usually been, you get a chance to buy the dip at the open. And that did happen on Boeing, but as I come back into the 1 minute, it dipped. It got pretty far. It got to 220, not quite. If it had broken 220, that top end of that was 219, and I would have been comfortable. But it just couldn't quite break any lower. Then you get the massive breakout in Boeing. The good news for it on the long term is this is now above the 200 period, so you gotta love what's going on here. Breaking out at 225 on the 200. You'd love to see it's stair stepped up since 185, right? Like you've been 185, 200, then it did it here at the 50 period, and then you did it here at about 215 to 220. You broke back out here now 225 at the 200 period. If it holds that up and you get a consolidation to 235, that's as good as it looks on the way up. It's a theme that works for the year as well. Valuations matter, selling things matter, pricing power matters. All of those things matter here. It also gives you the reopen recovery type play. If you want to make a play on travel resuming, I like Boeing there. The airlines are always tricky, man. Look, owning the airline, that's a tricky game. But Boeing here, solid run it's on. I think that has a chance to continue. Tech's loss is some success for, some people call them boomer stocks. I guess cyclical value, I guess that's the way to go. Either way, Boeing was one of those. And you always want to be looking out at what is relatively strong on the days where you get some market weakness, right? Like those are good things to file away, and then understand that if the overall theme of the market has changed, then these are the ones that you might want to be picking up when you do get the chance for those dips.
Yeah, we talked about the Lucid lockup. I see people talking about that all the time. It's the 19th, and I was trying to get puts on Lucid yesterday, and I missed. I wasn't aggressive enough, and I actually want to. Is Daniel Shea on today? Yeah, okay, good. I'll talk to her about that, maybe, Brendo. Lucid there, we'll talk to Daniel Shea about that, talking about getting some options into that event. Yeah, well, I'll try to ask her that when she comes on. But, okay, so that was about Boeing, so that's good. I'll stay in the same rough area here, and we had a big win today for Delta. So Delta today comes out. They're the first airline to report this season, and we like the report, and I don't know if you're going to find a trade like this today anywhere, but Delta comes right down. We pick up the very bottom. Very lucky to get it. Like, I don't know. I was just waiting at 40.50, to be honest with you. And we talked about this on a daily chart that we just wanted to get this 40 bid. Like, that was going to be the support level right there, 40. So we waited at 40.50, kind of got lucky there. I think it was 50 even, actually. So got long at 50 or 51 and then banged that to the upside for that $2. So a $1.80 victory right to the upside there on Delta. It exploded and sort of just been barcoding. We did dip below VWAP a little bit there, but I like Delta moving forward. That was a big trade off earnings. And I think that that's what we're going to just have to continue to do. Be patient, wait for the big plays. I like Boeing better than all the airlines combined. So I don't own any airlines, and I do own Boeing. So I like Boeing moving forward better than the airlines, but it's nice to see. And you also get a bump up today from AAL. We looked at that before. I don't know if it's still up, but when let's just have a quick look here. Oh, AAL up more today. So yeah, AAL continued its move to the upside. So there's a big one. American, I guess they're expecting a little bit better. As again, remember, Delta's more the international game, and American going to be obviously, and there's Southwest as well for domestic flights. That's the word I'm looking for. And we've been trying to get people into the Jets ETF. And again, I'm not in it, but we talked about, playing some of these earnings and not being stock specific. Jets with a 3% bump today. So there you go, man. If you want to play any of these ETFs, we've given you XLE, XLF for the two financials and energy. And we also given you Jets as well. And then of course, I love the SMH. So a few little names there to look at. Jets is another one.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. I was noticing UAL and AAL, as you were saying there, Sean, up more than Delta, even though it was Delta with the actual report today. So, I mean, good to see, regardless, even as we don't have to talk about COVID, it's fine. Yeah, but it's still a thing. Let's talk TPG, because that was a relatively big IPO that was today. Obviously, a PE firm, positions in Airbnb, positions in Spotify, to name a couple of things. I think they're in what was the other one? One of the Harveys, or one of the fast food restaurant chains as well. Anyways, Burger King. There you go. 180 billion AUM for this one. TPG ends up being a bit of a letdown as far as the actual trade is concerned here.
What did it say, Burger?
Well, it depends who you ask. I mean, right now I'm in the money $1 on it. I agree with Brendan, though. It wasn't the exciting play that we sort of used to here when we get earnings calls and IPOs. Let me zoom in a little bit more here. It's hard to see because we had to quickly make a decision here because we got loaded up at 33 and then it basically tanked. It went all the way to 32.50 there, and we started getting out a little bit on the way back up, and then it blew up. So these trades are kind of canceling each other out, with obviously leaving us with some profits because our best out there 33.50 and our worst out on the downside is 32.80. So these trades obviously put us into the money. We thought maybe it was going to crack below again. We get out at 20, and right now we're still holding the long. And then, I didn't pay for the shorts. Neil's going to talk about that. He's short right now, but it was just sitting here at 34, and I was like, you know what? I could just get out, but then what about when the minute I do, I felt like it was going to blast through. So I didn't get out, and I'm still holding. So right now we are in this nice trade here. TPG, 81 cents in the money, and it's going to be a profitable trade for me today. And we're just going to wait for it to break higher. I don't really have a target, maybe 33.50. If we break down below there, we'll get out for 50-cent winner and still have a nice trade on. So, hey, that's where my stop is, 33.50. It's nice that VWAP is there, and it's also nice that that's where we got our best trade out. So we'll see if it takes out the top, but I like TPG here. Let's see if the momentum can push this a little bit higher.
Yeah, it's got like that. Look, if you're into patterns, obviously you're going to see a bull flag there. it was a bit of a mess to the long, like Sean mentioned, but, you know, all truth told, you know, I definitely bungled it. There was a buyer at like the mid 80s, like 85 there. And I was sitting there along the 33 and I scalped a little bit out and there was this buyer at 85. And when it started getting taken out, I actually hit it to take some shares off. But it's like, okay, but you know, just give it to 32.50, which I did not do. And then scalp it out to 33.50, which is only 1-to-1. But then it comes up here and it's just an iceberg. Not even an iceberg, just a level at 34. Broke once, failed break, and there's a level at 34. Holding it, it tanked once, came down to 70s, comes right back, and then it's the same wall. So, I mean, I'm still in short 99. Sean just talked about 33.50. It will stair step out in front of 85, 75, 65, but then down here in front of 33.50. And, you know, I was hoping it would break down and give me something like a huge break into 33, but I'd probably just take it out again in front of 33.50. If it breaks 34, I'm out of it. You know, pretty simple idea there. I mean, it's anytime you see a level like that, and by the way, it's not a gigantic, you can see on level 2. Like, it's not like there's hundreds of thousands of shares on this offer, but those, you know, that 2,000 per gateway or 4,000 on MX, it's been enough to hold it up. It's refreshing enough when it gets hit. There's just been enough liquidity to maybe hold it through, at least for now. But at some point, I would expect, if it tightens up this wedge, at some point I think it's got to break 34s. That's why you scalp the profit out. So while it was a bit messy at the open, you can't really complain with the price action once it bounced. Once it made the double bottom at 32.50, it's been pretty clean trading. So we say dirty because we love that first couple of minutes of trade in the stock. But other than that, yeah, it's been pretty good in TPG, and you know, can't complain too much.
To another highly shorted stock in Vinco Ventures up next here. We'll discuss BBIG. We threw day 2 up there on the board, even though there really wasn't a reason or an obvious one, other than the fact this thing is still, you know, mid to high 20s on the short percent as well. So here we are up 20% today again, after yesterday had a big day, both on the volume scale and price action. So back to basically day highs here at this point as well for BBIG.
Yeah, a couple things happening here. I'll talk about BBIG, but we also do have, and I'll put this tweet out for you guys. We put this out at 8:55 about Beyond Meat, man, and you could see right now Beyond Meat absolutely ripping. We talked about Beyond Meat right here, and you know, it was a good trade. Check it out if you have Instagram. You can check that out as well. There's a nice reel going out there with it's catching some bids, the reel is right now, for Beyond Meat. So check that out if you have Instagram, or head over to my Twitter. We'll put the link in there just one more time. Please click it, guys. But BBIG, yeah, Vinco Ventures. Look, Prad talked about this on his show a bit. You can see we are starting to break back out. The high interest is there. And you know what? This is what I mean by like sitting around and doing some homework. You know, you got to check out some of these names that are, you know, past big time runners and have come down to levels that, you know, may get pumped again. And so right down there, 220, BBIG's been here before, back in March. This is going back a year. There, April, back around here. Comes back down again in August before taking off to $10. It's back down here one more time, and now take off one more time again, taking out $3. We do have this little tick there as 360, that little wick that already happened on December 20th. And then you have some levels in here, 377, 200 period is clean at 4. So, you know, there's some action there. And I am a buyer, as I just put in the chat. I'm a buyer of Vinco Ventures through 350 here, and we'll just see how far it goes. I know it's already broken today, but we'll see if it can get that momentum. And the best part about it is, man, I don't even have to lose sleep. I'm going to get out at 10 cents. So it goes up, we'll hold it, and we'll see if it flies. Otherwise, it's a long at 50 and an out at 40. That's it. So I've already sort of planned that trade for Vinco Ventures. I like it, but obviously we need to ramp up in volume to get this thing through 350. 90 million shares today. So yeah, eyeballs are on this name.
And this is why you guys you watch the show. If you were here yesterday, which most of you, I hope you were, likely, we talked about 330 on Vinco Ventures, and it's just, this was the next level up. When it broke that 3, sort of said, yeah, looking around for this 330 level, go back to the last time it was up here, and the channel that it was in before it dropped had the lower high at 330. So look, it made the pop in the morning. It made pop in the morning, established the 330 level. I never got it there. It came up the second time. Am I going to short in front? Sure I am. And then I'm going to reverse it at 330. And then 350, I'm going to end up taking some shares out. Now I got to go back to the 15 minutes so I can show you going right back to here. This was the day that it actually broke up and reversed. And you get 350. That's where that wick top, the lower high was. 360 was the actual wick high. So I definitely wanted to cover a bunch in front of that. I'm still long right now, but I'm sort of with Sean. Like if it makes that second push up, it's been super strong. So look at how strong this move is. I think you continue to try to take the break. It'd have to get back below 330 for me to cover these shares. I think if you're adding at 350, giving it to 340 makes sense because it's been respecting in the tens and the quarters pretty decently. So Vinco Ventures, the volume's great. It's going to do 100 million shares today. Pretty much it's got everything you want to look for in a bullish name in a market that, let's be honest, right? Like this, if you're looking for the longs, it's not like there's a million out there. And it has been these squeeze names that are going to the upside while the NASDAQ continues to fall. And my goodness, a firm. Why did I cover that short? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
All right, if you missed it this morning, we'll shift gears over to Nikola. What am I talking about? I was going to say Lucid, but Nikola back in the news again this morning. This thing's given it all back and then some. I wouldn't be surprised if we end the day red, in fact, on Nikola. But the state of California giving this the official zero emissions status, which opens up about $120,000 in incentives per unit, apparently, for anyone who would like to purchase one of those. So seemingly a big deal to start things off this morning. We had a nice run up, but as I said, yeah, there it is, back to the red. Negative anyways for Nikola.
Yeah, we absolutely, did well on Nikola today. Needless to say, it's still one of my top stocks here on the day. And we actually went the other way, man. We went long and then got the heck out of there as soon as it popped back to previous resistances and support. I guess in this situation, it'd be resistance. You could see here on the daily chart, we had this high, and let me just show it to you over here. We had this high before of 1150, right? We've been up here, and I didn't think we'd wick all the way up to 12. If we did, that would have been fantastic. But we've already been up here before 1150. So very, very easy to see that possibly was going to be the high, and that's exactly what it was today. It doesn't get there. It gets to 1144. We take our last piece out here at 1130. So monster move upside, man. We just took the breaks early, play the momentum early, and then reality sets in, and Nikola just comes back down to the downside. So, I mean, we could talk about Ford. That has been a big trade for me today, all the way to the upside, and you could see this name just bang that here and out there. Had no idea it was going to go all the way up, but I prefer Ford, Tesla, Fisker, GM, and that's it, I think. But Nikola, always good for a quick trade. We're going to watch out for that 1150 level. Again, as right now, man, no bids coming. And we'll just talk about AMD quickly. I'm not bidding anything. We're $1 in the money right now as AMD just continues to tank. And NASDAQ right now looking to take out day's low, unfortunately. Never a good sign when we close this low, especially after economic numbers 2 days in a row. That's not good. So the market digesting those now and starting to go back down to the downside. So watch out below here as AMD cranks it. He spit it. Money, I hate doing it because I don't even want to look into my 401k. Here in Canada, it's called an RRSP because honestly, man, whoa. It's been great, but I hold AMD, Softy, Facebook, everything, and things are tank city. And guess what? I'm not selling. I'm a bull, a stupid one, and just going to be buying all of these dips.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really going to add to Nikola there because I think pretty much everything's been said. In hydrogen, if you want some interesting stuff, hear what Elon has to say about hydrogen. Plug's a good play, maybe if you're into that space and you don't want to pick a maker there. A firm. Sometimes you make a trade and it's like all week long, and I wish my trades would show up. It's like you have trades ticked on our box, and it's like you could see every single day. I was actually shorting most of these levels on a daily basis, and my go-to when the market starts rolling over, if I'm not in it, has been to take aim at this ever since it had this capitulation at 95, because it's just put in such good resistance, right? Today was a little bit of a different story because it did another breakdown. So I just went right back, looked at the last dip support and said, if that turns into resistance at 77, I'm taking the rollover. But what I didn't do is I didn't hold it through the low of the day. I ended up taking out a consolidation, grabbing the profit and running. And we've talked about it. If you're in the direction of the market when it starts to go in a name that that is usually ahead of the market, like it moves more than the overall market, then you should hang on to it and not cover the trade. Instead, I did get out and it's continuing to flush. It's right at the week's low here, so a pretty big level, a pretty monster level about to get tested on a firm.
It is Trading Psychology Day around here. Once again, we're going to discuss a few tips and tricks that you can use with your trading to manage a loss, and specifically want to discuss a few things when you are actually in a trade, not necessarily after the fact once we're done and we all feel bad about it and we got to go out and drown our sorrows. But let's talk about how we can manage the trade when we're stuck in a loss, guys.
So the first thing you've got to be able to understand is losses are the cost of doing business. Like, there is simply no way, nobody wins on 100% of their trades, and anybody that tells you they do is an algo or they are cheating. It's just that plain and simple. There is no way you're going to shoot 100%, and you're going to run into these situations from time to time. Now, obviously, I'll start off by saying you should always predetermine how much you're willing to risk. Where is your exit point? What does it mean to be wrong? And that way, when you take a hit, it's something that you can stomach. But that's not always going to be the case. Now, I'm going to show you some moves here in Tesla, and you might have this on a 15-minute standout. Now, Tesla had a couple of days in pulling back, and it made this bottom at 1080. And I will tell you, the 1085 level, which I was all about today, and it was a great level, I took it to the long side in this trade through 1085. And you can see what happened when it blew through the bottom. Now, there is zero chance, there was never any way when taking this breakout that it wasn't going to be an abject disaster. I was going to lose. It's a matter of how much at that particular point. And it just comes down to this. You have to be able to identify what wrong means. Has anything changed? The pre-market low was down here at 65. Has anything changed in the market, in the stock, that has changed where my out needs to be? And nothing had, so you suck it up. Now, some people block P&L, don't even look at it, only concentrate on the levels. Some people say, and I actually like to say this, ignore your entry price, ignore your cost base. Those things don't matter. It is about what is wrong and where you're going to get out. And when nothing has changed, sometimes simply putting a stop order in at that level and making sure you get out is the best way to approach it. That's what I did here. And I'm not showing it because it's a proud trade. Downtrend, trying to catch a break like this, running into resistance, it's ugly. It was never going to win. But if you don't take your stop, it's just going to get a heck of a lot worse. Averaging down into it, not going to help things whatsoever. I think stop losses can definitely help. But removing the P&L from the equation and focusing on what does it mean to be wrong, has anything changed? That's what saved me in this situation, even though I took a hit, and you're going to take hits from time to time. You got to be able to do it.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. I mean, managing your losses is exactly what we're talking about here. And if you don't have a plan of action, then it's impossible to manage because you don't have, something to base your trade off of. I'm going to do a little bit more longer term here. And, this is one thing I look at. This is a 50-period moving average. And I think that if you're going to swing trade or you're going to look to, invest in something, you want to be able to identify when a stock is above or below the 50-period moving average and then try to figure out why it's there, right? In a name like Microsoft, it's obviously getting hit right now because we have a little bit of a sick NASDAQ coming down, and we know that big cap tech has been getting hit recently, along with a lot of names in the NASDAQ. So when you're down below the 50-period moving average, I like to look back and sort of tell myself, okay, here, if I'm now going to take a short in Microsoft because, hey, I believe that the market's going to start heading back down in, and we could come into the 200 period or something like that, I believe it's very, very important that we don't hold anything when trends break. So that's kind of my tip here, is look at a little bit of a larger time frame and try to pick out some trends, and don't complicate it. If you're trying to hold something for a big winner, whether or not it be a multi-day, multi-week, multi-month, whatever, use something like a 50-period moving average. Keep it as simple as possible. So again, don't fight the trend to manage your losses. And another thing is too, keep it simple. Just be simple. don't overthink things. Sometimes when you're in a trade, and I'll give you another real life example right now, AMD today, and we don't have to look at a daily chart, we'll look at this chart right here. You could see, we were long, we switched it up as the NASDAQ started to go down, and then we were favoring the short, playing the trend again in the NASDAQ, and every single time we got stopped out, the hits were small little cuts, right? And then we put one on that we feel is like the top, and then we were able to cash out multiple dollars and then get it reloaded again. So as you can see, as the trend starts going down, we switch from long bias over to short and cash in again. So, hey, this is your tip here. Play the trend and keep it simple. You don't need to outthink the market. Remember, you're in control of your stops, so make sure that you put them in.
That old statement, plan your trade, trade your plan. It's simple, but it works, guys. You have to have a plan before you enter the market. It's that simple. We're going to get to some hot topics for today coming up here in a few seconds. Bring on Justin Kozach to discuss a few important things you may need to know heading into the rest of the afternoon. Great to have you as always, Justin, Day Trade the World marketing guy. Check him out on Twitter at tradertv. Justin, we're talking Tesla. I saw this note this morning, to be honest with you, and I actually thought the same exact thing you did, in that maybe this is the end of the Cybertruck.
Yeah, this just feels like the Homer truck is just kind of imploded on its own. Not sure what's going on here. Tesla scrubbing the 2022 production dates from the Cybertruck website. No idea why it's happening. I think there's a couple of reasons that are kind of being bandied about. A chip shortage, which is affecting all automakers right now. The pandemic, of course, everybody's favorite thing to talk about. And design challenges like that massive windshield wiper is probably causing a lot of grief internally with Tesla's production teams. But this, this could be a plus too. I mean, the Model 3 became the first EV to top Europe's monthly sales charts, and Tesla also delivered 1 million vehicles in 2021, an 87% increase over the 2020 numbers. Of course, these numbers are quickly being erased by that big recall that Tesla announced just before the holidays. So 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards sort of thing. The timing of this is not the greatest either. Tesla competitors are definitely turning up the heat. Ford saying they're going to hit the gas on the production of their F-150 Lightning, and Rivian, for all of their troubles, finally started shipping R1Ts to their consumers, and Hummer and Chevy have also scheduled electric trucks for late 2022 and late 2023, respectively. So who knows what's really going on. But Elon has promised a product roadmap update during their next earnings call. So we might have some insight into what's going on over there with them.
I was just actually double checking. January 26th, there it is. January 26th. We'll mark that day on our calendars because that is the next Tesla earnings report, which, as you said, Elon has promised an update on said Cybertruck. So, we all heard a ton about the amount of deposits that were given for this truck. So, not a big deal, obviously, to pay those back, but it doesn't look great at this point for this thing. Let's talk about the Xbox One here, because I don't know, are you a fan of Xbox One? No more production? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, so Microsoft is cutting off production of all Xbox One consoles. I think there's a good reason why. I mean, one, they want to focus on the production for Xbox Series X and S. Boy, they make those things hard to pronounce. So, from a strategic perspective, totally makes sense. They're seeing some great numbers as well. Xbox has definitely been turning up the heat on the PS5. Ampere Analysis, I have some notes here, did some research into the popularity of these consoles. They're saying the Series X and Series S have sold collectively 6.7 million units worldwide as of the end of September 2021. And they are apparently outselling the PS5 from a digital sales perspective as well. The one of their units is digital only, and they've been absolutely, from their from their research, absolutely killing it in some markets. So if they are focusing on selling a new product and making sure that they have enough they have enough ability to produce and sell these things. It's a great idea. This isn't anything new that this isn't a new strategy that companies have done. They will always try to sell products that do well and not focus on ones that have been around. I have an Xbox One myself. Glad I have now a discontinued unit. Might be able to get some cash for it.
Yeah, I would unplug that and put it away somewhere and maybe make an NFT of it even at some point. Instacart.
Oh.
The lockdowns are the lockdowns. We can put that aside, COVID aside, getting food delivered right to your front door aside. Instacart making some interesting moves here today.
Yeah, I really like this idea. The whole concept of ready meals is certainly a market that has grown. In Toronto, we have a number of these, and I would assume that in larger cities and other larger cities, they have these as well. So good on them for jumping into that whole fray. The story here, adding priority delivery to all ready-made meal orders, which means that some of your orders will be delivered from grocery stores as fast as 30 minutes, and they've tied in with companies like Publix, Giant, Stop and Shop, Martin's, and Kroger in the United States. So could be interesting to see that. This comes on the tails of an announcement that they acquired FoodStorm, a SaaS order management system that powers end-to-end head and catering experience for grocery retailers. So Instacart making the move into the fast or into the ready-made meal delivery aisle. Definitely. So good call for them. And they're also growing too. Their orders grew by 30% year over year. So the pandemic, great for some businesses, not so great for others. So good to see that they're on the positive side of that.
Yeah, it's interesting with this inflation angle as well, that this is a move that, we've all heard about the higher cost of food specifically. We saw on that CPI number back on Wednesday, I guess it was, a little bit lower on the ex-food number overall. But good look for Instacart. Thanks so much. Once again, Justin Kozach, Day Trade the World marketing guy. Check him out, guys, on Twitter at TraderTV. Justin, we will speak again tomorrow, sir.
Absolutely. Have a great night.
You too. There we go. A few interesting angles there, guys. No more. Either of you guys have an Xbox One?
Not
No.
me. If you know me, I'm not much.
PS4,
I'm
Switch.
Me?
No,
Sega
not
Genesis?
you. Yeah, Nintendo 64, NES original. No.
Pretty good
no
at Mario Kart back in the day, but
We were playing Mario Kart again last night, man. My 9-year-old is getting pretty good. The problem is we showed him how to drift. So yeah, now that was like my secret. So now he knows how to do it, and he's just like drifting all over the place. But we'll spin this right now because it's money time one more time here as BBIG. Hey, what up, Vinco Ventures? Nice to know you. We take that through 350, run it a little bit higher here. We took some out at 54, 55. Obviously, we're expecting this thing to get a little bit higher right now. We do have our out mark down here at 340, so we're trying to be disciplined here. And we'll see if Vinco Ventures wants to go. I know this is just a shot in the dark, but hey, we'll try along here. Push it in on Vinco Ventures. And then honestly, like I'm 80 cents in the money on AMD, but I've seen this too many times. Like maybe I'm just a little bit weary now because we took a $3 winner here on this AMD short after getting clubbed, trying to go short and then eventually holding it for the big wins and then reloading the short. So, okay, one more time here. Let's do this. This is my favorite thing. So we have to do it one more time. Okay, so we're reloaded now on AMD, and we're just going to see what happens down here to 133.50. We do have a bid now. We'll see if we can't take the smooth $1.20 or something on this bid, and then we'll wait to see if it testing day's low one more time because, hey, guess what else is cracking right now? Mr. NASDAQ to the downside here. So we'll have to see if it can hold, then fine and great. I mean, great for our longer-term portfolio, but right now AMD kind of starting to head to the downside. So let's see if we can't get a break here of 133.50, and then hopefully that cascades it back down to that downside. We'll have a multi-dollar win.
this is a perfect segue. So I'm just going to, there it is. And look, Sean talked about, when we talk about the market rolling over, know what you want to get into, right? And so, Sean, back to AMD. If you can't guess that I'm back into a firm, then I don't know what program you've been watching. But that popped right into the previous low here at 73.65, the previous low. It broke down hard when it broke this level just minutes ago after we came on. It just did the recovery into that range. So of course I shorted, and of course I'm going to get some scalps out to make sure I'm taking profit on the way down. And then just if the market breaks this low of the day, which we're on right now. We're sitting here in the NASDAQ. There is the NASDAQ. We're sitting here in the NASDAQ right at that low of the day. Your next level isn't until like 150 points down. If this gets taken out, maybe we're going to get that 2% move to the downside. Find something that's weak. Find something that's outpacing the market in the direction that it's going and stick with the trend. That's why it's like today, like what were the longs? Like Beyond Meat, with the squeeze play, Bed Bath & Beyond with the squeeze play, Vinco Ventures, small cap breakout. That's where it's been.
Yeah.
And everything else, well, okay.
Wait a minute, Beyond Me with a squeeze play.
Boeing also was up. So there's some cyclical names that are also up today. I shouldn't say nothing else, but you know what I'm talking about. Momentum, day trading type names, right? So that's the way it goes today. And then tech, you find yourself into the good shorts.
Oh, we got Ford.
Ford,
our real name running
Ford's
today.
up, running GM. Like real companies that sell and have decent valuations are doing pretty well today. And then everything else, just make sure you stick to the trend. But if this low gets taken out here, like we said, it was going to be a hard ask to have the market try to do it twice, have that weakness in the morning, capitulation, and then the hard bounce. It's not going to happen twice in 1 week.
I just we are getting ready for a guest of the day, but is it guest of the day? We've had a couple of guests today. We're getting ready for Miss Danielle Shea to come through, so we'll talk about that. But on that note, and again, I got to sort of trade as I preach a little bit here. And AMD right now, as the NASDAQ, and this is what I just noticed, so I just got out. So I cancel. I'm still going to be in this name, but I'm still in 20%. So you can see 20, 40, 60, 80, and we're still going to be in 20%. But it doesn't make any sense to me how the NASDAQ is at the day's low right now and AMD is not. So I'm going to say relative strength right now, apparently, here in some of these chip names. So that's leading me right there to get that piece out and not wait for this. If we're wrong and this thing flies down, great. We still have our 20%. We're not going to have the 40% on, but at least we have something on. And I'm just getting like the spidey sense right now that, hey, maybe AMD is sort of done flushing a bit here and wants to go back up. So I'm nervous that on a NASDAQ rebound, AMD rebounds even harder to the north side. So let's get out of this. It's a good win, man. It's 70 cents. Like, I couldn't be happier with it, but we'll see if AMD does retrace back down. Just a quick update. And then there goes, there goes BBIG right to the upside as well. Now taking out 63s. So, yeah, we're getting pretty excited here for BBIG. Another winner. Thank you to everybody in the chat for that one, as Vinco Ventures going insane right now. Over to Brendan at the big desk.
There we go. Thanks so much. Yeah, Danielle Shea back with us once again, VP of Options at Simpler Trading, to discuss some trading ideas, Danielle. If you're a trader of any sort, we're getting into the best time of year, and that's going to be earnings season, which will kick off tomorrow morning with the banks. So let's jump right into it here, and we'll discuss a few options ideas when it comes to how do we play these bank earnings, Danielle?
So what I normally do with these is I go back and I look at the past 8 quarters and I want to see, has this company traded higher or lower the majority of the time, or has it been neutral? And then I want to know by about what percent and about what dollar amount it normally moves. Because in the options market, you just have this unique opportunity where you can sell premium because options prices trade higher going into an earnings report and then they collapse post report. So what I like to do is I like to identify stocks where I think I can sell that high premium that'll collapse. And the bank stocks are perfect here because everybody's looking at them. There's enough premium there. So you can go in and you can sell at the money calls and puts. And then buy that back the next day for a lower price if they stay within that normal range they normally trade at.
We get JPM, we get Goldman, we get BAC and WFC. Give me your pick here. Which one are you looking at specifically?
I'm going to trade JP Morgan because when you're trading Thursday going into Friday, that's really the best time to try to be selling options premium because you get that really quick theta decay. So I'm going to be selling the at the money calls and puts, but I do it as a condor so that you're protected and you're not, selling naked calls and puts. So in the case that I'm completely wrong and the thing explodes one direction or another, you are protected and you have, a defined risk scenario.
Pretty good question after you were on the last time from a viewer actually talking about, let's put earnings aside here for a second and just, in general, if you're, looking at a 2, maybe 3 or 4 day kind of time frame on the shorter end when it comes to these types of trades, give me your favorite kind of play or your favorite kind of setup when it comes to, that kind of specific 1 week time frame.
So, honestly, the only trade setup that I do that has that short of a time frame is going to be earnings related. So during earnings season, what I like to look for is I like to look for companies that have what we call a 2x move. So we look for, prior to an earnings report, we look at the company's market maker expected move. Basically, the market makers will say, hey, we think the stock is going to move within $5. Well, what will happen is almost every day, there's usually 2 or 3 companies that completely blow that move out of the water. And so if they trade by twice that market maker expected move, generally you can trade that post earnings momentum. So, if a move was $5 and it actually moves $10 or $12 overnight, I will jump in and I will buy that and I'll ride that momentum for two or 3 days post earnings.
We're kind of keeping our eye on going forward for the next few weeks here is going to be lockup expiration. Going to bring Sean in here in a second to talk about Lucid specifically. But the other big one that's coming is Robinhood, which is happening on January 25th. So a couple weeks out, but a monster lockup expiration, going to be all kinds of shares that'll come available for sale. How are you going to play something like a Robinhood?
So, I have to see what the momentum looks like at the time. If I could bet now, I would think that we would see sellers in those names because, you've got people that have profits in Lucid. So it would make sense that they'd want to take profits. And with Robinhood, especially, I would think that those shareholders would want to get out. But honestly, I'm going to have to see at the time which direction the momentum is going, especially because, Lucid could always have a potential short squeeze. So we'll have to see closer to the date.
Hey, Danielle. Yeah, great talking with you and always amazing to have you on. I did want to quickly ask you one quick thing here because I have to find it, and it's because we were tweeting back and forth here. But you had quite the nice setup that I saw. Now I can't, of course, find it where it's at, but I'll get that in a minute. You wrote down some nice little notes on your board there. I thought that was pretty cool. Hold on. Bear with me for 1 second, unless you have it right there. Here it is. Okay, I just want to show this. Is this something that you do just every day? And we'll talk about Lucid in a minute, but I have the sticky note, and don't try to steal that idea, by the way.
I like this. I stole it from you.
Yeah, okay, don't do that.
100%.
I may steal your hashtag whiteboard right now. So, but I like this. Is this something that you do weekly? I noticed that you have a few different names here. What is this all about? And is that something that you do for yourself, clients, things like that? What's up with this board?
Okay, so first of all, I 100% stole it from you because I love your sticky note
posts. That's it. Take her
on
off.
Twitter. I think they're amazing. And so I had notebooks everywhere and I would write down tickers. And so I found this amazing whiteboard and now everything is organized and it looks pretty. So thank you for the great idea. But what these are basically the setups that I look at. So I'm primarily a swing trader, but I also trade earnings and I also buy stocks. So what I do is I just create a weekly watch list. And now I have it right here on my beautiful board. Where my squeeze setups, those are going to be swing trades. I'm looking for consolidation. I'm looking for a breakout on a 2 to 3 week time frame. I'm also looking for earnings trades, either overnight or a momentum move into earnings. I also like to pick up stocks when they're down, 10 to 20%. So basically with my board right here, I'm looking for my favorite ideas with those setups. And then what I do is I post trades for members based on these ideas. Sometimes they set up all the way and I get in, sometimes they don't, but these are basically my top ideas. And then on the right side of the board, those are the ideas that the clients ask me for. So I run a trading room, and I'm jumping in there in a few minutes actually, and they'll say, hey, Danielle, look at, all these names. So I write them down, I look at the charts, and then I cross off the ones that I don't like, and I trade the ones that I do.
Make sure you mention us in that trading room you're going to there.
Yes.
Okay, so one thing that confuses me, and I'm nowhere nearly as smart as you, I'm pretty sure in anything, but definitely in the options market. Like when you mentioned condor, I know what it is, but to me it's a bird. To you it's something else. Butterfly spreads, things like that. I love butterflies. But, so when I'm looking at Lucid, and I think that the lockup is going to create something, an action to the downside. So I open up this Yahoo board here, and I'm like, okay, what do I do? Well, I know that I want to go down here to January 21st because it's actionable for next week. But then I have no idea what I'm looking at here. And I don't want you to go into anything too in detail. But, what kind of strike prices? Like if I'm looking here today, I think it's going to go down to 36. And we don't have to go over which one you would buy. Maybe we can, and you could maybe tweet it at me later. But when we're looking for it to come down to 36 here and test some of these levels next Thursday, Friday, do I want to get maybe a put that might be a $40 strike, or do I want to get something much lower? Like, again, I know this is not such a simple answer as do this, do that, but what is something that you look at? Do we look at deltas? Is there something that you would say, hey, this is what I'd be looking for if I had the idea of maybe a 20% move down like I think might happen here for Lucid?
Yeah, of course. So I was just checking on my options chain here. And so you're looking at, when is the exact lockup date? Is it the week of the 21st?
19th.
Okay. So looking at the options chain, the number one thing that I'm noticing is that the implied volatility is super high in that series compared to this week. And that's because of the news event, because of the lockup expiration. So as a general rule, when you're looking through your options chain and you can see 1 week that has really high implied volatility, I try to avoid buying options in that series because it's just like earnings. What will happen is the implied volatility goes high, 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 high into the event. And then once the event occurs, that implied volatility gets crushed. And the option is priced in part with the implied volatility. So actually in that type of situation, I would look to sell the calls, because that way, then if you think it's going down, the calls, if you're looking at them and if you think it's going down to like 36, I mean, you could sell any of them really. You could sell the at the monies, you could sell the out of the monies. It depends for me what kind of risk you want to put on.
Right.
For me, I'm an aggressive trader, and I think you're kind of aggressive, right?
Well, I've gone both ways. They may say.
So what I typically do is I usually, if I'm going to sell an option, I would sell it at the money, because that's how you're going to get the best premium, and that would be an aggressive play. If you want to be a little bit more conservative, you could sell a little bit higher strike, so that would be a lower delta. And you're going to get less premium that way. However, if you really did want to buy it, what I would suggest, because I wouldn't buy it right now, because what's going to happen is the price of that option is going to continue going up into that event. Okay. Right. And then it's going to get crushed after the event. So let's say that you wanted to wait until after the event, like right after, and short it. And then you're saying, okay, what delta am I looking at? So in general, if you were going to buy an out of the money put, okay, because you think that it's going to go down and you want to make a bunch of money on it, those are the ones that are going to be a lot cheaper, but you have to be right, because if it does not go in the money on you, that premium is going to decay so quickly. So generally what I do and what we do in our trading room is we try to buy in the money options like a Delta 70, because that way you have a little bit more wiggle room if you're wrong. If you buy a Delta 70, they're in the money, it has a little bit of intrinsic value. And so then that way you have a little bit of a buffer as well. So a couple different options for you. I'll definitely be checking in on it next week.
Daniel Shea, thank you so much, VP of Options at Simpler Trading. And the other thing is, I'm going to do you a favor now, and you're going to do me one as well, because I'm going to put your handle in our chat right now, because people love the invaluable information that you're giving. And I'm going to assume that you don't mind if someone tweets at you a question, because people are asking me about AMC calls and this and that. So is that okay if I give our loyal viewers the opportunity to tweet at you?
Of course. Yeah. Bring it at me.
There it is. So Daniel Shea, thank you so much. We'll share that information. Always, a fountain of information, and we love that. You're definitely adding something to our show. Thank you, Miss Shea.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Ciao.
Because sometimes you just got to sit back and learn. And it's like, in this kind of a market, you're not going to see these opportunities every single day. And do shoot those questions. I saw there was a lot of them in the chat, so I think we might be sending a few. And
that's why.
And I think that's why Daniel's going to be a regular guest. A lot happened there.
Look at BBIG,
yeah, like
baby.
BBIG broke to the upside. The market broke the low of the day. The NASDAQ and the ES, check that, both broke the lows of the day there. And you're not going to believe, it's ridiculous. Someone, a trader, formerly known as Jude Fernando, asked me where my stop was on Affirm. Right when the market turned and was about to break, I got stopped out, and then Affirm turned on a dime. So I did get stopped. I'm looking to get back into this as the market heads lower. BBIG rocks to the upside. But the real story is that 2% mark. We just hit that 2% mark. No signs of abating here. It's going to take a lot of work for this market not to close on these lows the way it's been trading here today. Crazy price action. The only movers, though, you get those small caps and get the squeezers. Those are going, but everything else is just flush city.
There it is. Oh, I love that slow-mo, man. That is so cool. Okay, BBIG, bang right there. We'll go to the old school banger right there as BBIG guys. Yeah, look, this is exactly how you are to our trades, man. Like your risk to reward. I told you, when we started the show, here it is. Like, didn't want to short 350, didn't want to do anything. We talked about playing the momentum, playing the trends. It was actually on the Evergreen video that we did, playing trending, hitting these levels. This is also called scalping as it goes all the way back up to the upside. And now we still have pieces on to let this thing run. So again, like this is what, a 35 cents right now on this name. So there it is, 33 cents with a 10-cent risk. So, this is how we trade. This is how you have to trade, in my opinion. Be smart, look at your trades, load them up, and just try to do the right thing. And I think with BBIG, that was an obvious break right there. The volumes came in. It's 3 o'clock, so we're emptied out. We have 20% left, and let's see how far BBIG goes. Congratulations to everybody there on the chat that hit this one. And there it goes again, man. Wow. Oh my God, as BBIG continues its march northbound here. And
if you just look at it, ever since it broke this 250, it's like it broke 250, makes a high off that break. The next time it's 268, it breaks that, it's clean to the upside, it makes a fresh high at about 310. If you took that break, it goes to 330. That's the one we talked about yesterday. That break also gives you to 350. It's every single time it makes one of these clean breakouts. It then takes out a new level. The second time it gets there, it breaks out, and it's a clean winner. Now, when do you think you might have a bit of a reversal? Well, a trend reversal could simply be when that doesn't happen. The other thing to watch here is we look at this stock. I think we talked about this yesterday, and we should have mentioned it. The 200 period kind of coincides with this last cluster where there was a consolidation before it broke down at 375. My target was 375 on the 350 break, the same way 350 was my target on the 330. And then, look, I will be looking to short around that $4 level. It is that 200 period. It is that little cluster where there was some consolidation before. So if it's going to make a turn, I kind of like the idea that it could do it at that particular price. But this story, the market continuing to come to the downside. I'm just showing you guys Tesla about to hit the 5% mark, right at 1,050, double bottom here on Tesla. If that were to break, and we're well through 4,700, cleaning out levels on both the ES and the NASDAQ. It's getting kind of ugly, but I have to note the one thing that I have left short, which in theory is the weakest stock in today's market, specifically today's, but most of it was a gap down. Yeah, holding up at the double bottom. So I can't ignore the fact that Virgin Galactic doesn't seem to want to go any further than 10.15. I am now bidding in front of 10, which I was not before. And we can't talk Virgin Galactic, and I should have mentioned this without mentioning Virgin Orbit. It's Virgin Orbit that has their launch aftermarket sometime 4 to 6. They're launching some satellites. That gave you an absolute gorgeous double top today. And sometimes talk about sell the news. Well, what do you think would happen if there was if they pushed back this flight or something went wrong? Right? When you get a run up like this, I can show you the daily chart. It looks just as good on the 15. You get a run up like this going into something like an event like that launch. And you have not just a double top in the day, but you also have a top at the same level at $11 a couple of days ago. That's an easy rollover. The only thing that was a mistake was taking it out at pre-market lows. So it continues to be sold off. You talk about buy the news, buy the rumor, sell the news. This is one where the run up into this launch, almost up 100%, and then it gives a big reversal. Sometimes you just got to take that shot. And as I complained about space, now it approaches 10.
We put the wrong order out, but it's fine. It's going down, so everything is fine. But we meant to, I was trying to change my stop order for BBIG to put it back down to 50 there, because I was like, you know what, I don't want to lose on this. Not that I was going to lose. I mean, we're out of 80%, but we did not mean. So you're going to see me out of BBIG here, but we did not mean to get out of this one, and I'm not going to buy it back in until we break even higher. But that was a mistake there. All I was doing was changing my stop order because we had it at 40, and I just was like, hey, if we break 50, I'll just get out, because I just didn't want to give back any money, basically. And then we hit out there 73 or 74. So, we'll take that out. But that was a complete mistake. Could be bank error in my favor. So we'll go, because right now got out at 73. I could buy them back at 69, but we'll wait for that to come through. I did want to, how did I keep the loss so limited? Yeah, so there it is. What's up to whatever? Yo, what of? Yeah, what of? Right there. You said you keep your BBIG loss to 10 cents. How do you keep the loss so limited? Yeah, no problem there. Yeah, what's up, Mike? Yeah, BBIG. Let's go, BBIG. Awesome. Okay, so just to answer your question, I mean, Neil and I use our hands, and we're trying to be quick on the draw here. And sometimes because we're I've already made 200 trades today. So with that being said, I made over. How many trades do I have on AMD? 44 on AMD. Actually, that number's wrong. I only made 150 trades today. 44 on AMD. And even here on BBIG, right? So what I put in is I just put in what we call a stop loss. So we have that set up. I mean, it's in our keyboard. I could show it to you, but it doesn't matter. And it's just a trailing stop you can use, or I use an exact stop. So for me, the 10 cents was easy, because 350 minus 10 cents is 340, and that's an area that we were sort of already dancing around. So on a break, I feel like a lot of people will be looking at this 340 area for a stop, or down here to 330. So if you want to get a little more aggressive, I would put my stop at 330. But I was just like, you know what? If we fail off that break, there's going to be people stuck with thousands and thousands of shares. So where are they going to push it out at? For me, and Daniel said that maybe I was a little aggressive trader. He's actually wrong. I'm very, very conservative. You guys know that. I just didn't want to tell her that. Got to keep some street cred here. But I wanted to make sure that this level right here didn't get cracked. So that's why I kept the loss to 10 cents. No losses whatsoever, but that's where it would have been. And then I love Daniel Shea. She comes on the show, super great guest, but unfortunately I was too focused on listening to her and talking about it with her. But there's a big move up while we had her on the show. TPG, and I assume you got stopped.
Oh yeah, right at 34.
Which is fine. You took your profits already. Yeah, it's right back down. It's at the same level again. So it breaks back up. I'm just going to assume, because again, Neil and I trade very similarly. He gets out on that 34 break, which is a no-brainer. And then for me, I would have pushed this out. I would have let it go all the way up, and then when it broke back down somewhere like 34.25 or so, I probably would have pushed out that short. So the long. I do still have the long, and I'm sitting right here at 34.25 to get it out in case we do bust higher. But TPG for me today, a great trade. We're trying to have diamond hands. I think we did it. Here it goes. So give me another shot, man. If this can just rip back up to the upside, we're not going to try to get too greedy on this. It's a profitable stock for me today. 34.25 is going to be my target for an out here on TPG.
Yeah, and the thing is, look, you set a stop, you stick to it. When 34 broke, but the other way that you could play a level like that is you could manually try to hit it. Now, on an IPO, usually with liquidity, I'm always going to use a stop. If it was, I'm going to pick up a name like when Neo some days would have an even level, like 500,000 shares or something. Yeah, sometimes you can go ahead and hit it, but if you try to take out the level, if you miss, you're going to get slipped even more. So stop order in this particular case. There's one more here, and someone said when I said that I think it was when I was talking about Vinco Ventures and that 200 period moving average and getting out of it on the way up. Why didn't I go short? Well, look at how strong the trend that we were talking about is. If I think that $4 is the level, it's got to do a little better than 385. Like this is not the kind of short. Like when I shorted 330, like I didn't take a single fill until it got like 5 cents to 330. Like I want it to be relatively tight because you're going against the grain there. Like if you're going to take that shot, I think you want to manage your risk pretty well because you're 100% going against the grain in a breakout stock that a lot of people are bullish on and trying to catch momentum where there isn't a heck of a lot on a day like today. So you really want to make sure you get your price. So obviously, look, like I'm saying all of that, and clearly had I just done it, it would have worked. But just because doing something will have ended up working doesn't necessarily mean that that's the right decision. You've got to be able to evaluate your decisions not based on the results in that particular moment, but on the process. And if I did this every time I saw that same situation, would it be positive? I would argue no, because I'm throwing the risk to reward out the window. That's 15 cents to 4, throwing a couple of pennies of slippage, 17, 18 cents there. Like, I don't think that's a reasonable trade going against the grain. I think if you're trying a tight stop short down here, you can find your way into something, but that wasn't what I was looking to play. So got to be able to stick to the rules. Go from there. A couple of ones that were moving earlier on today. Just going to check back in on Boeing, because when the market cracked the low, like I said, you talk about relative strength and weakness, even Boeing it broke through VWAP here, kind of giving a little bit back. There's some perspective. It's got support at 223 from earlier in the morning. You'd hate to see things like that get taken out. What you don't want to see on a day like today are the strongest types of names also start to roll over and break levels of support. But now we're down, approaching 2.25 on the NASDAQ.
Yeah, it's nasty there. We did get out of our AMD, unfortunately. Like I said, just as we were talking with Danielle, it broke above this 134.30 area that we sort of identified as right into here. So we want to capture 60 or 30 cents or 40 cents on the last piece. And look what happens, man. Oh, I better make sure. Okay, good. I don't have any bids. This is exactly where we were bidding, man. We talked about that into the 50s. It cracks below the 50 and now continues to go downside. So I guess it's just a strength that I thought was in AMD. It was there. It was there. I mean, we went all the way back up. Should have reloaded the short, to be honest with you. But we believe that, hey, it was a little strong, so we did get out of that trade, and now AMD cracking lower. I almost think this is a buy here at these levels. I don't want to step in to a bid right now, that's all. But I think that right here is probably a bid. I mean, we've come down to this level. Sure, if you can absorb, so this is, now it's up to 50s, but I was going to say if you can get it like down here in the 30s, which you might be able to, you have just below 133. The low is 65 cents. So, and again, when you're talking about risk versus reward, if I get out, it's going to be at the low of the day. So that's 132.70 break is probably 132.60 is probably a break. And right now I have to take 80 cents worth of risk to do that. So which means it only needs to come back just shy of 134, just north of 134. So this risk reward may be here for this trade. I'm going to wait for a little bit lower, but I think we'll put something on if this comes closer to 133 here for AMD.
And look, we're not here yet, Sean, but you know what we were talking about before we came on. AMC just broke $21.
Oh, hell yeah.
And anyone can pull up a daily chart, right? And once you pull up a daily chart on AMC, $20 is going to stand out like a sore thumb. So look, I'm not saying it gets there today, but 21 has been breached. And we're now headed back, it looks like, to that $20 level. Like maybe it's 20 minutes from now. Maybe it's tomorrow. Maybe it's next week. But that should be a rather gigantic level. I think sort of looking at it in both directions is going to be the way to go. Like, would I try along off of it? Yeah, I mean, if there's enough there, I think certainly it's got enough juice that it's going to be worth it, risk to reward. It does coincide with a decent breakout, but just worth noting, you go all the way back to mid last year, the actual breakout from consolidation did happen below 20, and I think that's what gives that possible trade some wins, because it's about 16 bucks where it broke out. So in theory, breaking that 20 would give you down to like that 15, 16, where I'll tell you right now, this gets down there, and there's going to be some serious buyers, in my opinion, on AMC if it gets down into that range. I liken it to when Virgin Galactic finally broke that 25, 26 area that I really liked on the way up every single time, and I kept thinking it was going immediately to the teens, and it would just find support in that 20 range. I think you could see something similar on AMC down at those prices. But yeah, big levels coming in. That's what happens when the market's coming down. Got to be on the watch for AMC. Like 8%. Like I feel like when we came on, it was like, yeah, I mean, when we came on, it was at like 2150, 2160. That happened in a hurry.
Oh, yeah, it's getting clocked today, AMC. I mean, I know you just did all the levels. So, I mean, you can look back here at this bottom of 2084. We're just bouncing off that right now. So, missed opportunity a little bit here for AMC, I feel like, because we might have just missed that bottom. But again, you know, punching long 21 and giving up 2184 isn't that crazy. So, maybe there's a long here on AMC. So, that could be a good look. Thanks for bringing that up to us. We'll have a look to see how it reacts in the next little while. What time is it? 3:17. Okay, so we're getting close to the end here. Yeah, cracked already. Oh man, it's just at that tipping point. I don't know what I want to do here. We've battled back a lot today off of some mistakes early, and I just don't want to get punished too hard here, but I think it's worth it. Here's the 1 minute chart. Yeah, it's just cracking lower. We resisted that, a big sell candle as we break below 21 there, and then now followed by a bunch of buys. So I think you might have picked that level pretty good there for everybody at that, or we both did, I guess, at that bottom, 2084. So let's keep an eye on that for AMC shareholders. It's been a nasty ride. Doesn't help when he's not the lead. Well, I guess he is the leader, but sells some shares today. Adam Aaron comes out and sells some of those today. So that's not talking up your own book. That's doing the opposite. So there it comes all the way to the downside. Let's see where we go. Look, I know they've recapitalized and everything like that, and we are heading into what I think is going to be hopefully a good year for movies, as there's been a lot of pent up demand. So if you want to play AMC to the long side, I can't disagree with you. It's all about valuation at certain points. I don't even know what the PE is on this thing. Let me just look up quickly. AMC, price to earnings. They don't even have it, of course. Yeah, because they lost. Yeah, they're still losing money. So it's not going to have a PE, but we'll wait to see where it goes. AMC probably beat down too far today.
Yeah, and a lot of people, maybe it's the same person over and over, but I keep seeing what's wrong with Microsoft. Look, when the market sort of does this, you have to ask yourself, like, where are the places? Let me pull back even further in the chart just to really emphasize the point. At the beginning of 2021, we're trading at like 210, right? Like, you have to consider where the stock has come from, because when people look to take profit and maybe free up cash when the market's coming back in, almost nothing becomes immune to those types of levels, right? So when you get this revaluation, even big tech at some point in this raising rate environment is going to have their pullbacks and have their sell-offs. So, Microsoft, it had its turn last week, and then you're seeing a little bit of that here today. But, I mean, how many times have I referenced the 200 period, which I put on my charts when I thought the market was going to start pulling back in a bit? It's still, what, like $15? Sorry, check that. $25 away. $25 away from the 200 period. So a lot of names, it's like, oh, where do I want to pick it up? Let's see if it bounces off the 200 and go long. Microsoft ain't even sniffing it yet. So I understand, I get it. Look, it's falling down. No one wants to see that. But all things in perspective as to how strong it's been. And some of these are just going to be coming back in. And that's what happens from time to time in these markets. Sort of coming back and checking. And I know I mentioned Tesla and then managed to somehow miss out on it. It did break that 50 level, but the market has slowed down and made a bit of a bounce. So Tesla now hanging around that low, trying to get back in here. I'm noticing a firm tick back up, so I might get another shot at it. I should have given this, and I think it was might have been Omar in the chat called me out and was like, "Why was your stop so tight?" Remember, we kind of made a comment when it was Trader Prad was talking about NVIDIA and he gave it like 10 cents. Well, you know what? I didn't give was it AMD? 50 cents. Either way, and I made a comment, but then I didn't give a firm much room on that short. Very, very tight stop. And I get stopped out only to see it make that breakdown. So it's actually putting in a higher low. So it's a different story when it comes to 1365. I think I'd like to test it maybe closer into VWAP. Brendan?
Phillips, guys, a ADR just popping up here. They had I guess, business update or quarterly update. There was a couple of price target cuts yesterday, so you're going to see a huge move down. In fact, it gapped down significantly yesterday, but this thing has done nothing but just rip back to the upside today. So 4.5% here, just took out day highs there. So this is a division of Phillips, it looks like, an ADR here, PHG.
Brennan's always going to find you something running. Like you could have, like during the flash crash, I'm sure Brennan could have found you something which is breaking out. Well, maybe not during the flash crash. That was literally everything when it happened. Now that I mention it, but the PHG sort of obviously a strong move. But every time we see these, like remember when you get monster gaps down on stocks, if it doesn't, whether it's a short sell report, it could be a pharma with a bad, it could be a pharma company with a bad result in a drug, or we get a letter from the FDA, whatever it happens to be. Like when you get that first gap down and then you hold the first level of support on that particular day. A lot of times you will see this. So usually it's like, okay, try to catch it off the bottom. And other times it just never sniffs it. It consolidates and it breaks out. So if you miss out on a trade like this, which obviously we've all missed out on here today, unless hopefully someone got it, who knows, then you want to look back at this pattern and say to yourself, okay, can I see this the next time? When you see those stocks, and we'll cover gappers in the mornings, when you see something that's gapped down significantly, track it for a couple of days and see if you don't get that kind of a setup. As I mentioned, that going to come back over to Virgin Galactic because $10 starting to come in. Looks like we're going to get this one in front of the low. We talked about it as a trade of the day. Sometimes you've just got to be willing to find your way into short. It doesn't matter how much it's down. If it's weak, you can always go further. It's just the same way like on Vinco. Like it doesn't matter how much it's up. A lot of times if the momentum's there, it can go higher, and you've got to be able to do that in both directions. Looks like we could get $10. And oh my goodness, AMC, it's at $20.50. Like I was just saying, maybe, yeah, I was like, maybe it goes to $20. Maybe it goes there today because it's really starting to accelerate to the downside. Almost 10% now. It is hard. Look, it is hard to short something that, like, I just finished saying, like, yeah, okay, fine. Find your way into shorting something that's weak. But then
do we have shortable shares?
Good question. I should go check. Do we? We do?
I mean, do we still have them, though? Yeah, okay, we do. I just threw out 100 shares. But
we do? Okay.
This thing could halt because, again, it's only, what is it, 5 minutes, 10%? Like, we'll see what happens.
Only $2.
Yeah, we'll see, because that's only $2, right? We were just, probably won't halt. That's going to have to really crash. The only reason why I'm like, oh my God, it could halt, is that if it does halt, this could be an epic trade for the ages, okay? So, I mean, just watch out if it halts. There's going to be people stuck, long or short, both ways. Who knows what's going to happen if this name does halt? But, yeah, like, that's going to be a crazy trade on a halt. You can almost treat it like it was like a reopen trade or something like an IPO there, because there's going to be tons of volume on AMC. It's only 33 million shares, guys. Like, wait to see tomorrow what this thing's going to do. I'm very, very excited to see what AMC has in store for everything, because tomorrow could be a real spicy day on this name. It already broke through that 2084, so now I just have to wait for 20 even. That's what I'm going to do. Try to be a little bit, frisky with this one and wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, look, that's the thing. We know what the price is. Like in front of it, like if you were trying to long in front of 2065, like that, like, to me, it just doesn't work. If you're not wrong until 20 broke, then you want to get it right in front. And the reversal, today, it'll be short sell restricted tomorrow because that lasts for 2 days. So it will be SSR. Just to quickly point out here, remember that little trend on BBIG? Well, the 330 break, it barely ticked below it. Actually, as a matter of fact, like it gave you the first consolidation it made it when it retested it. It never really broke that 30. Well, we're getting the same thing here. You had the first breakout, which a lot of times it goes up, it goes down, makes a consolidation. Now it's right back to 350, which was the second break. So if it's going to put in another dip buy, and that pullback is going to continue, this is the channel. It's 45 to 50-ish. So you see it come in. If it can't come out the upside and breaks down, it's probably headed into VWAP. So back on the, Vinco's still moving here, right? So it's back on the radar. And then the market continued to break lower. I said I was going to look to try to get back into a firm. I mean, it got close. Instead of being a little bit more patient, thinking it could press a little bit closer to VWAP, that would have meant 74s. If I had used the same entry point, it looks like that would have worked. But I'm getting a little bit more picky the closer we get to the end of the day. And yeah, when we're down over 2% in the NASDAQ, we're going to have to watch out for some of those imbalances when they drop at 350. It used to be 345. I think that's why I just said that. And TPG, you could have had that break at 34. It seems like it's just right back to barcoding off 34, which kind of makes me want to just jump in and short 99s again with the same risk to reward. I mean, why not? I mean, it worked before. It's like you're risking a couple of pennies. I think I got out at 02s. Oh, come on. Like, seriously?
What happened now?
No, dude. I just offered 99s and then look what.
Oh, yeah. I'm still in that, waiting to see. Okay, so it is going to probably break this 50 mark.
son.
We're going to get out at 50 if it does break, but right now, obviously, there's something happening here with a big move down there. So TPG, for me, I'm just straight chilling on this. I have 10% of my position. I already sort of understand that I missed that high side move there, when we were on the air, but that kind of sucks. But okay, that's part of giving it up when you're talking with somebody there. So that was Daniel Shea. We did miss that big break. Like I said, I think an out would have been right here, 25s or so, if that would have came through. What happened there? I should have been. What? I was waiting. No, I don't think that happened because I would have got out there. But anyways, okay, so let's just watch that. I was waiting at 24, and it looks like it went to 25. I don't think that happened, but okay, that's strange if it did. Maybe I wasn't sitting there at that time. So, okay, let's move on. But yeah, AMD continuing to make a move to the downside. I was like, you talked about softy there. That move just continues. Amazon as well, down 2%. These names all getting cracked. This is what I own, man. Like, I own big cap tech. So today's a bad day for a lot of these names. There's Amazon down, now just kind of barcoding, not really much happening there. A recent name that I bought as well, Shopify on New York. I think that was on like 8%, maybe at one point. So everything is getting killed right now. Once you type in NY versus NQ there, and we have an idea. We put in a ticket to solve this problem. So hopefully that comes through. So everybody at Day Trade the World,
I know what I got to do.
We got you on that one. But here's a 20-minute chart. You can see basically pushing. I think I'm long. I'm okay on my long because it's somewhere in here. I got it on one of these crazy down days. But Shopify right now ticking down, and you can see here. This is what I was looking for. The daily chart. Wow. Yeah, I think I'm in like at 1150 or something in around here. But you could see back to like. Again, some of these lows running into $1,000 again. So I'm not going to be stepping in anymore. That was just an initial buy, little small bid there. And on Eli Lilly as well. We sold some T-Doc to buy some Eli Lilly, and I think that was good. But maybe we should have stayed in cash, as you can see. All right, so AMC.
Lilly's probably fine.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're all fine.
I'd be shocked if it's down. Well, maybe flat, but not
AMC there. Where did we bounce off there just to see? AMC bounces off. Okay, 2050 clean. So that's a good one. So a nice little bounce there off 2050 for AMC. So maybe we will take a long if it gets back down to those levels. Only 30 minutes left in the day.
Yeah, and hopefully she'll be back tomorrow, so we'll hit that key. I've been using it in Miss V's absence to try and get her spirit here. I said I'd get out in front of $10 on Virgin Galactic. I will show you why if I can scroll down here. There we go. Yeah, so there's about 200,000 shares on the bid at 10 even on Virgin Galactic. So cover in front of it. If it's going to break that level, fair enough. Maybe we can still go short. Clearly, it's going to be short sell restricted because it's down 19%. Forget about it. Like, I mean, AMC's down 7.5 or 10% or close to it. But yeah, space a heck of a lot more than that. It might be worth a scalp if I literally get ones. Might be able to take a couple of scalp trades before it eventually breaks, or maybe it doesn't break. I should always say maybe before it does. Shouldn't talk in certainties. You should never think or talk in certainties when trading. I say it all the time to trainees, and then I do it from time to time on the show when I really think something is going to happen. And then I saw in the chat, someone said, "What just happened on TPG?" I'll tell you what happened. While I was thinking about doing something, somebody did it. It was on the offer, it was barcoding again. It's like, ho-hum, is it going to do the same thing it did here? Well, while you twiddle your thumbs, there's traders actually trading, and they just took the bid, and then you saw it make the drop. And probably the reason why it's going to fall farther and faster that time is because you had a significant failed break here. And not just once, but twice. So a couple of times it gave 2 more failed breaks through 34 that trapped a few more long. So the more people long meant the more people covering on the way down here, as opposed to probably the first time it made the breakout. And, it is what it is, guys. You're going to see it come back in. I don't really see myself in a trade now. Tomorrow, I can promise you, we'll be watching 3250. Because obviously we'll be watching 34.50. Maybe if it settles in the middle, it'll be a level there. But I like the periphery a heck of a lot more than that. But Virgin Galactic off of 10 even. Yeah, I'll be down on the bid at $1 at 10.01 to see if I can't catch a quick scalp. It might have just turned though at 03, and that might be the best price you can get.
Oh, God. Yeah, okay. This could be really, really spicy there. Beyond Meat, I got a new position alert, so we'll see. Taking a position here in a name that, has been real spicy. There's Beyond Meat today, obviously, on the short squeeze. We talked about that earlier on in the day. And, we're in it now, but who knows where it's going to go from here. But we are in Beyond Meat right now. We'll see if it can squeeze up to 74 again. So we're long right now, 72, 76 right now. And we'll just see. Waiting to see if it takes out the high of the day. My out, again, someone asked about how do we get our outs. I'm just going to take the out at 72. If we fade back down, well worth the risk for me. We'll take an out at 72. We'll also average it if it does fade back down just a little bit there. But hey, let's take a shot now with Beyond Meat near these lows. Not near any low, but it did make a little bit. Oh, that's the 20-minute chart. It looks better on a 1 minute here. Yeah, so, we've already been up here. This is 72 right there. And then, so I'm going to see if we can hold this 72.20 area. And then if not, then obviously, I think a lot of people will be looking at 72. You could take it a bit lower and look at these levels, 71.80, which might be a little bit better. I mean, not might be, looks a lot better than 72 flat. But anyways, that's an area for me looking at that place right here, 72 or so. That 73 break. Maybe we'll take more long. I don't know. Let's just see if we can get back up to 74 and capture, a quick $1.50 or so on this play to end the day. So hopefully that can go. And we may even get a squeeze on Beyond Meat right into the close. So let's see if that works. If not, hey, well worth the risk. Like I said, we'll take a risk here of 75 cents plus slippage, probably about $1 to make $1.50. On a name that I'm somewhat confident on. So let's see what happens here with Beyond Meat.
You know what I love? David Kyle talking about Vine. I see YaTube37 talking about Vine down 82%. I'm not making this up because I messaged Brendan before we came on air and I said, look at Vine, the short setup. How do we not have this one, basically? And look, up 2 days in a row and capitulating. Like, it goes up and capitulates, goes up a second time and then capitulates. But guess what happens here? You come all the way down to this 680 level, and then it's gapped down in the morning, and then right at the open, this is pretty much right before 9:30, you get a press into the previous day's low that cannot break, so pop and fade. You guys know exactly what the setup is at that point. And then it just drops like an absolute rock. This is what it looks like on the 1 minute, right? Like, it even tries to get back up after 9:30 and fails again to get through the high, and then it only drops. So what I love to see there is it was a fantastic opportunity. You guys got it. I'm sitting here saying, why didn't I have that trade? And you guys are finding those patterns. It's all about the community because we can all learn from each other here. So we're going to learn from you. Hopefully you guys learn a little bit from us. I've learned now twice in the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes, like, just not be as picky. Like, this is what just happened when I showed you that level at $10. And why am I at 01s? I should try 3s. I showed you the level at 10 on Virgin Galactic, and then, obviously there was a big size there, and then just like on TPG, it pops to the upside, and it's going to pull back in. Now, it only went 10 to 15 cents, but remember, if you're long at 3, your out is at 10. So, like, you're risking 3 or 4 cents in theory. So making 10 or 15 is part of the plan there. That's why it doesn't go as far, because when it's that much size, people load up with more shares to take a smaller level of risk. Instead of holding it for 20 to 30 cent, dollar wins or 70-cent wins or whatever it might be, and risking 20 or 30, people just take more shares to risk the same amount in terms of overall value, and then only risking a couple of pennies. So if it comes down here again, I'd probably be thinking 5 or 10 cents because it's already happened once. If it tests it enough times, it's likely to just simply break it. That's what happens when these big levels show up and the momentum is the other way. Eventually, they usually break. But you can still take advantage of them from time to time.
Yes, sir. Yeah, good advice there about key levels and whatnot. Still looking at Beyond Meat. We're still on the bid here in the 20s, so we'll see if this one wants to come in or not. But right now, the market just really doing its own little dance here. We will wait out for the imbalances to come through. You know which name is sort of a big cap name here that's been working is Walmart. Walmart up another 1% today. This has been a really, what's wrong with my chart? Okay, been a really aggressive long today. I mean, just been taking upside here. Even as the market looking to go down, Walmart continues to make moves upside. So that's been a good one. You see the 20-minute chart? look at this bottom here. Again, and I don't know if this is going to be the bottom or not, but Walmart really holding off on this 143. That was a great level. We were just there today. So we'll see if it takes out this 146 now. Walmart, a great trade, it looks like here for the long haul. Let's see, is Target up as well? Is this a retail bounce here? We haven't really looked at too many retail names today. Yeah, Target's still up as well. So hey, even though there is some nastiness in the market today, it looks like there's a few sectors that are going to be up. What's up, Brendo?
Just checking out HBNC. Not an exciting stock typically, but this thing just went absolutely crazy about midday, and this is more a lesson in liquidity than anything else, because this went 21.80 up to 22.80, just took out day highs there again, now 5.5%, but only, what is it, 416,000 shares traded today. So I'm not seeing anything significant on this. Doesn't report until the 26th. Maybe just a big buyer there on HBNC, but pretty impressive move.
Definitely a good move. There was another I saw in the chat earlier, ATER, and someone had said that to talk about it. It didn't have as much volume or fall through as well. That's why I didn't quite bring it up. But I will say this. It has punched through 4. If it could have held that $4 range, it is, on the daily chart, you can see it is pretty interesting in terms of a consolidation on ATER. It just hasn't really gone yet. It gets more exciting if this were to break 450. So that's what you're looking for. I guess, you know, if it's a day one kind of thing, you can always sit in the bottom with a stop at the low of this consolidation. That's only risking about 50 points from here, but it's more interesting when this thing breaks 450.
Oh yeah, you might have saw me beat something up there right here. There we go, boom, 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 because Beyond Meat, yeah, fails. So there it is. We get a, nice little move to the downside there. Should have almost gone short there instead of into the short squeeze. But look, that's why we get out, man. There, look at that, 72 out. Like we got, what a great price, 71.90 we got out. And as I said, if that cracks, you got to look out below. So at least we were sort of right on that one there on that call. So it looks like Beyond Meat, although I would have loved to go short there. We take the shot on the long, and it looks like that's not going to work out. So there it is. It looks like to be a good out on Beyond Meat. Brendan, another one?
Not enjoying life either today, guys. Crocs, if you remember, was up significantly at this time yesterday. It gives it all back and then some, just making a day low right now for Crocs. I'll shift over to here. Remember, Piper Sandler yesterday talking nicely about Crocs, but right back down again.
All right, yeah. Crocs.
I was about to say, like, punks jump up to get beat down. I was going to say, like, that lyric. I wonder if Prad knows it, but then he didn't. What? Punks jump up to get beat down. It's a song, actually. Yeah. So I mean, he didn't. Prad didn't know Beastie Boys, so we're gonna get him on some tunes at some point. But Crocs, look, it's just giving back what it made yesterday. It's still in the midst of a nice double bottom break, and it was running into some resistance. Like I think we mentioned this yesterday. If this could have gotten over that 140, could potentially be making a run. It's not a horrible valuation, but remember, every sector's valuations are a bit different. I said I would wait for 01s and then miss the bounce on Virgin Galactic. So this time I got out of the short at 03s. This time I take the long at 03s. It's a little bit, different from going long at 01, but the principle is exactly the same. I'm not letting 10 break. If 10 breaks, I'm definitely getting out. This is not a situation here where it's like, oh, I'm going to give it a few pennies and let's see what happens. No. If it breaks 10, I'm getting out of this thing. And if it goes back up to 10, 15, I'm probably out of just about everything trying to scalp it out. So pretty simple concept here. And you have to understand, like, this is one where because of the risk to reward, you got to know that even 50-50, like you're not even thinking it has to be 50-50 with that type of a scalp trade because your stop is so tight that it really only has to work like one time out of 3 for it to pop to 10-15, and then it's okay. That's provided you stay disciplined. If you start messing around with, am I going to actually get it out at 10? Well, all that's blown up. You got to take the out when it comes. I am going to get more shares at 01s only, but I didn't want to take 3s because that's where it bounced before. So Virgin Galactic, what goes low can go lower. And then checking back on AMC, it did make, it is making about a double bottom here at 2050. If that leg goes, there's still 20 minutes to go, but it's feeling like we'll probably have to wait till tomorrow to see that $20 level.
Yeah, it's feeling like bad buzz here as we get long AMD right down to 133, right where we wanted to. So we already identified our out, 132.50. We talked about that, have an out when you get in. So here we go. We're trying to see if we can hold that bottom as the NASDAQ is starting to get ramped again. You see some big moves to the downside here, bang, bang. And if we look at the whole day today, it's pretty nasty. And the key is, this is a key level. We talk about this level all the time, and it's 16,000. As soon as we failed off the open right there, it's just been push to the downside. It's an ugly day here for the NASDAQ, and it's going to continue, I think, for a little while longer, unfortunately, as we already got those numbers and we already know the rate hike is coming, apparently, in March. And it looks like, I shouldn't say apparently anymore, I'm guessing it's pretty much official right now as the markets are reacting to this. And again, my out is going to be upside here. We're going to see if we can get it out near 134, man. So we're going to take a 50 cent worth of risk and just to see where it goes. So here we go. We're on this name. Let's see if it's going to work for us to the upside. AMD, hopefully the market will bounce, which it is bouncing, but this is not bouncing that much. So that's one little worry for me. We've already identified the relative weakness we thought in AMD, down 3%, NASDAQ down 2%, but let's see if we can get that weakness, turn that upside down, and see if we can push AMD, not we push it, but the market pushes this upside here to something like this, man, like 133.70 is not going to be a horrible out if we can get that.
Yeah, like you got to think with a fall like this, even a muted bounce as the imbalances come out, like there might be some buyers coming in. And we'll let you know, like 7.5 minutes, we got the imbalances coming through. Just going to get set up to make sure that either one of us can quickly show them. I talked about Vinco Ventures, what it would mean if it was going to hold that level. So now if it was going to hold its run and its breakout that it's been on, this 345, 350 area is being retested here. Like I said, I think if it takes it out, it's probably easily headed into VWAP and that 330 level from before. It's managed to consolidate and break back up again. Now it's starting to stair step down. It's a little bit late in the day to start getting, messing around with this. It would have one shot to maybe bounce here, and like 5 minutes or so we could take a shot at it. Other than that, I'm on the bit of Virgin Galactic. AMC, look, if it had broken 2050, we'd be all over seeing what happens there. But with 15 minutes to go, Brendan's got another one.
Metavale Holdings just popping up here, another little one. 41 million on the market cap. So this was maybe a stop run. 175 just got hit there, and monster volume came in. So some stops maybe getting hit on MDVL, guys.
Oh, that just reminded me. Someone had asked about Marvel, too.
Oh, did they today?
Yeah. So here's the thing. I know we say this all the time, and it's 100% true. Like, we get a lot of questions. We get some in DMs. We get a lot in the chat, and it's like, at no point are we ever meaning to miss anything. It's completely impossible to cover everything, answer everyone, and even sometimes acknowledge the names because everything's moving pretty fast. But Marvell, a name which I love in the chip space, and it's the same thing. It's a very similar thing, not the same thing as Microsoft, but a similar thing, where it's been on an absolute tear. It is a bit of a growth name, just like Nvidia might be, and it's not going to be immune to these pullbacks. Now, what I don't love about this is you are churning through that 50 period here, and then right through the $80 level as well. And there's probably a gap down in here to 76. So I'm relatively conservative in growth stocks in terms of always taking things out, probably well before they reach highs. But when thinking about where you want to reload this is going to sound like, this is not necessarily doom and gloom, but it's going to sound that way. I'm not really thinking about a reload on Marvel till it gets into the low 70s. That's a good 10% from here. That sounds extreme, but I'm willing to be patient with it. I'm probably not as active in the long-term account, and I think that's part of the reason why, because my stink bid will be in the low 70s on Marvel. Now that it's broken the 50 period, if it closes below, I feel I want to be conservative. That's where the last cluster was, and it's a huge one. Like, that range is from about 76 down to 70. I remember, because it broke out from there, it was fantastic, but as it falls back in, I'll be way more conservative with it. If it was, if this was like Procter, like maybe, on dips, where I'd be scooping it up this year, I don't think it's going to be as volatile, so I would be a little bit more, a little bit less conservative, I should say. But when it comes to something like a Marvell, yeah, I saw the breakdown. I'm not really thinking about it till it got to 70. I've been saying for the last couple of days, everyone that asked about Lemonade, I am now not even thinking, I wasn't even thinking about it till they report. I'm not even sure there's much they could say that wouldn't make me wait till the back half of this year to thinking about buying that again. And sometimes you have to adjust, and 2022 is a different year in a lot of ways. Speaking of adjust, I missed the first time on Virgin Galactic, and the second time, there is no bounce right now. It is just sitting here. Why did my level 2 go? It's just now barcoding right down to 2s and 3s. So I get it the first time it made a break eventually. This time, the buyers aren't really coming back in. Now the risk is pretty tight here because if 10 goes, I'm out. But at some point, it has to what or get off the pot. The imbalances are coming in just about 3 minutes.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, that's late. Okay, so we don't have too much time here for AMD, and AMD is going to be key for the imbalances because if it comes as a sell, then we are going to get taken out on the downside right here. This is not a huge risk spot because look at the risk you have to take here on AMD. This can move $1 or $2 in a heartbeat. We've already seen it snap a couple times today, so let's hold out hope that this one eventually comes back upside for us here. And if not, hey, we have actually, the imbalances are still a little bit ways away here. It's only 3:46 right now. And if you're doing the time with us, some people say, hey, we're a little bit delayed. Well, you can see the time in the bottom right there, but it's 3:46, 43, 44, 45. So that's the kind of times that we're dealing with. There is going to be a delay on YouTube, obviously. So check that out on your side. And definitely, guys, I think we've had a great show today. Daniel Shea, we had Justin on the board as well. And we only have 500, we have 3,200 people watching. We only have 600 likes. Let's hit that like button, guys. Let's get this to 1,000 if we could. That would be great. It's Thursday. Oh, we have a day off on Monday. So although the Canadian markets are open, we go off U.S. holidays for you guys one more time. So, that's another reason right there. We're back on Tuesday, of course, and then we're back tomorrow at 8:30, all day, every day. Hit that like if you can. We need to get at least 1,000. It's a completely free show, and we're trying to do the best job we can for you. And I wish that I was doing a better job on Ford, but right now, Ford coming back, I did a great job on Ford today, just didn't hold it to the highs. It almost took out $26. So Ford's going to be on my radar again tomorrow. There's no point now. There's only 13 minutes left. Neil and I, again, thank you so much for watching the show. We're already up to 800 likes. So let's do that for Miss V. Get to 1,000. Greatly appreciated as well. And shout out to Parrish who got back to me. I'm going to send you whatever you wanted there on the merch. We talked about that on Twitter. So thank you for DMing me as well. Down here, 24.90 or so there. We'll have to wait to see on Ford, but a great name today. And again, Neil and I are flat at the end of every single day. We trade physical equity. It's not options. It's not CFDs. It's nothing like that. So yeah, we do have to close out our positions here as we're on a Day Trade the World prop floor. So definitely check that out, daytradetheworld.com, and more information will be there on our platform and on what it's all about.
Yeah, I can't wait for Ms. V to come back because she'll probably message her. She needs to wear the green tomorrow. That's for darn sure because we're approaching 2.5% now on the NASDAQ. So we're extending going into the close. We're going to get the imbalances in a minute. Maybe we'll see what happens. I don't really know which direction they're going to go here. But it's been a heck of a sell-off just looking at the NASDAQ levels. And again, I'm not getting any bounces in Virgin Galactic. I'm watching this AMC, and I just thought of something and was messaging Greg, and it's like, you actually hope it doesn't go SSR today. You wouldn't want it to be down that 10% when it tests that $20 level. That'll be pretty key.
It won't go SSR at this point.
Yeah, so at this point, it doesn't look like it, but that's a good sign. You don't want it to be SSR when you want to play off a level like that because you want to be able to go in both directions with, sort of freewheeling no matter what. I'm going to go back to BBIG with only 30 seconds to go. So, Virgin Galactic either breaks 10 or it doesn't. But Vinco Ventures is still consolidating. It's now too late in the day for me to want to make another trade. But at least this will have been a good sign if it can hold this 345 and not manage to gap down below it. That would be a pretty good sign there. And of course, 330, a pretty key level for Vinco. 25 seconds till imbalances. They would have to be something spectacular to turn this market. Probably worth watching some of those chip names because I know they reverse pretty hard.
Yeah. So I'm going to be in this, and we're going to watch it right here live as it's going to update in 10 seconds. We're going to get all these. These are not live right now. You can see up here the market time has not changed. In 5 seconds, we'll get live updates. And then really the only name I'm going to watch here is AMD. Let's see where it goes right now. Expecting a big spike. And no, it goes right. Look at that monster move downside there on AMD. So, Palantir with a monster sell as well. Let's see if that takes out 16. I'm going to say yes. Palantir. Wow, Kathy. Come on, Ant. Down 1.6 million shares. Yikes. Could easily take this out. Watch out below on this name. CCL with a nice little buy there. Yuck. Damn it, AMD. Can't go the other way, eh? CCL with a buy trying to go. I don't see any major NASDAQ names on here. Although there's AMD. Yeah, AMD with a sell. Of course, the major one there. So that's not good. We'll wait to see. That'll almost get us cracked out. Hey, that's
what's not a good sign?
What's that?
when Virgin Galactic is one of the bigger ones on the list, 600,000 shares to buy. And yeah, you'd think, okay, so did it go up a single? Oh, I'm still on Vinco Ventures here. Yeah, I was going to watch that one going into the close when I pulled up Virgin Galactic. And it doesn't even go up a single cent? Like, really? Yeah, so anyways, that's how weak that stock is. And I was asked a question, like, does it mean anything if Virgin Galactic doesn't pop off this 10 level? Like, it's not written in stone that, oh my God, if it doesn't pop off this, it's going to be a breakdown. 10 short will be just as good as watching AMC at $20. It's definitely not a good thing, but it's not, you can't just make that bold prediction saying, yeah, for sure, Virgin Galactic's going down tomorrow. Do I probably think it's going to continue the trend based on the fact that it can't get a bounce on the bounce? It couldn't make a second push through. Yeah, that might be a little bit true. It's just, I wouldn't sit there going all in on that kind of a notion. Sometimes they do matter in terms of giving you information, but the imbalances do not give you 100% indications one way or the other. But certainly it's not a good look that it bounced off 10 once, caught a buy imbalance, and is now trying to come down through that $10 level. So this is all that's left for me is, does Virgin Galactic hold $10? And why did I not? Why did I get out of a firm? Why did I not get back into it? A firm at the low of the day as well.
Oh, TPG up to $35. Yeah, we're out of that name. Too bad.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, that started to go to the downside. Okay, upside, sorry. Palantir, look, we just hit the short there. I don't know if it's going to work because this is going to pair off, but let's just see if it does want to go to the downside right now. So we'll hit oops, that's still a daily chart. We'll hit Palantir short. We're only short right now at 97. I didn't get the order in time enough. I'd love to be short 99s, which we should have been on that 16 break. But here we go back down to the downside, Palantir. Let's just see if this thing collapses. I don't know. It doesn't look like it will. We're going to get out just to make sure where our order is. Yes, north side of 16. So if we break back above kind of where we started, then yeah. But right now it doesn't look like, yeah, you know what? I don't know. It doesn't look like it should have gone there. Like it just took out 97, didn't hit 96. So this could be a position that's in somewhat trouble here as we'll wait to see what Palantir wants to do. Hopefully continuing its move to the downside right now. And you guys know, again, like I'm the opposite way in my book, but for a day trade, yeah, darn it, this is going to pair off. So I'll probably lose on this trade, but it's one last shot. We'll take a shot here on Palantir as it is a sell. And then AMD got taken out of that trade. Good thing too. Out at 50 as it's now in the 30s for that one. And yeah, Palantir looks like it's going to go back up. So watch out, taking out 16. We're out a little bit north of 16, guys, on that trade as it still has the imbalance. So we'll see if it gets paired off near the end of the day. And
a good note here, Rivian. And we're not ignoring like lucid Rivian names that we talk about pretty much on a daily basis. It's just there's been so much moving. It's hard to catch everything. At that $80 level, try to remember there was a flash. I know this has this significant level at 77.50, but when it had that flash crash type move, it did get down to 75 on a dime. The immediate correction was about to 77.50, so I think that could be a level in the event that 80 breaks, which might just happen right now with only 4 or 5 minutes to go. Man, I hope we can trade off some of these levels tomorrow because it's late in the day for us. But a firm I was just watching, like this is where a firm's at. Like want to talk about a level. This double bottom 72, not just on the week but on the day as well. I'd be like, look, I can't hit the short with 5 minutes to go. Like that's just dumb, really. But I mean, maybe we'll have a look at this level tomorrow. It is what it is. You're seeing some of these come in right on these lows. No stock is being left out, except Vinco is bouncing off 350, and I'm sure those squeeze names are doing pretty well.
Yeah, I'm really just looking at Palantir because it's the only position I have. There's Intel, I think, just showed up as a sell, so we could see what that's doing on the 1 minute. Yeah, so okay, yeah, someone just put in a sell order there.
That wasn't there before.
Wow. Oh, what? It wasn't as high though. It's actually increasing. Apple increasing as a sell as well. These weren't here.
That doesn't happen that often.
These weren't here that long ago. Look at Intel.
Yeah, see when they're not big imbalances and it comes out at 350 and then they show up and start climbing the board, that is usually significant. So that's why you're seeing movement. What's Apple doing? Because I'm telling you,
Apple just cracked. It went down a buck there.
That's not
on that, you can see
that ain't good.
Yeah, that ain't good. But it's starting to get paired off. It was a million. Now we're down to 500. So maybe it does reverse the other way now. But wow, that flushed Intel there. Where's Intel? That flushed Intel a little bit down to 54.80 off of that. It was cruising. So yeah, a lot of these names, we can zoom in a little bit just to see exactly the damage that was just done there. And of course, my Palantir, big sell. But yeah, I finally go short on a name that I'm always long on, and the damn thing doesn't want to go down. So let's go Palantir, see if it wants to take a little dance here to the downside. I don't know.
Yeah, crazy action. You just don't see that. I mean, look, and remember, Intel's been like a value type name, but the rollover in chips, man, when TSM, when the earnings by TSM couldn't hold up this market, it was not a good sign for the chips because you couldn't have asked for more for them. Speaking of earnings, we do have a few here on the board, Brendan.
Yep, getting ugly here, guys, into the close. Let's get you prepared for tomorrow morning. Nothing aftermarket significant tonight, but that's what's coming up in the morning before the open.
Yeah, here come the banks. They're not.
Here come the hot step.
Murderer.
Right. I'm a lyrical gangsta.
Murderer.
Exactly. I don't know anymore. But there you go. If anybody knows Snow or whoever the hell that was.
That's Ina. What? Oh, what's
no, that's na 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 na.
I know. Now I should know this one.
Not Shaggy. I don't know who it is.
You guys, come on. You guys let us know who it is.
I forget who it is. But, okay, so it doesn't look like, I mean, look, I like to throw, maybe I'll just throw this order into the mock, but, I mean, we're already...
Yeah, Ina Kamosi, that's who it is.
Oh, yeah. Duh. Well, I mean, yeah, how could you not forget, or, remember that classic name?
Prad's over here acting like he knew who it was.
Prad doesn't even know who Beastie Boys is.
They're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Beastie Boys, Prad.
And
the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
And he claims to know Ina Kamosi.
Legit,
I'm
Jay-Z?
glad you know who Jay-Z is, there, Brad. Okay, good job.
We love Brad. Like, it's all kidding aside, we love Brad. You know that.
Yeah. We took a little bit out 95 there, but we didn't get any more love on Palantir. So, guys, I don't know where this thing's going to go. It looks like we're going to take out 16. And, of course, I picked the name that doesn't do anything off of a sell imbalance. So there we go. We'll have to watch out what's happening right now with this name. We only have 3 minutes to go. I still have my order in to get out if it breaks above 16. So that's probably something that I'm going to wind up doing here is just getting out. There it goes. So we print a 1602 here. We'll be out of this name. It's going to flip around, or is it? I don't even know anymore. I'm just going to put this order in the mock. Let me just cancel this. Whoops. We just got out of it. Oh, I was going to throw it in the mock, but now we're out of that name. So Palantir back to the upside. So that short doesn't work, but I think it should have. Now I'm stuck long a little bit here on Palantir because we did get some out there. So we'll see what happens now. But hey, what a violent day today, man.
Crazy.
Down 2.5%. Crazy time.
And, 2 minutes to go here. Virgin Galactic, that grew to a buy, like 600,000 buy bounce to 800,000, and it still didn't budge. The liquidity down here is insane. My guess is the level could be even bigger. If 10's still on the board, it might not be like a couple 100,000. It's already up to almost 500,000 on the bid. It could get even bigger than that. This morning, I'm not sure who's going to be on the bell because I see both Rob and Lucas in front of me. So it's a bit of a mystery. Tomorrow, it should be Miss V. I don't want to jinx anything, but we've all been missing her. I know you guys have been missing her as well. So she's definitely getting better, and hopefully we'll see her tomorrow. And hopefully that will mean better things for this market, which is doing that thing. And that's going right down into, this was that wick bottom that we had pre-market here on the NASDAQ yesterday. We actually breached that just barely, although it's been reclaimed. So that's the kind of day it's been, 2.5% to the downside with just under a minute to go. There's nothing fun to say about it. This is the environment that we're in. It's all about navigating it here. We'll do our best to help you guys with that and then find some trades. And there were longs to be had, right? Things like pointing to the short squeezes for the breakouts or finding your BBIGs of the world or getting the names from Brendan. That's what you got to do, or find the good earnings. But even that good earnings, it just couldn't help us today. Like that TSM, it's almost like just waiting to sell that pop on the semis is what the market did.
We went short, of course, in the Palantir, and then it fades out. So we do have an order into the mock. So we'll see if that goes now. Okay, 16 right now. Sorry, 30 seconds left to go. I was looking at the price here, 16. So we're almost done. What a violent day it's been today. But it's been a good one, man. We've made a lot of trades, and I hope you've been, enjoying the show. We're back tomorrow at 8:30, and I think if you miss that show, then you're nuts. Tomorrow's going to be crazy. It's Friday. It's going to be a hot day. Lots of options expiring, things like that. So get ready to rock and roll tomorrow with us. Be back with us, guys, 8:30 with only 9 seconds to go.
Bell?
Who's on the bell? I don't see anybody.
6, 5, 4, 3.
Oh, yeah. Very good, guys. Yeah, here come the Beastie Boys to ring the bell right there. Good job there, guys. And now we'll see what happens with my Palantir trade. I don't even know where it printed 01s right there. So basically a flat trade there for Palantir to end the day. So far, so good. I'm not going to forget about Brendan this time. So let's throw it back to Brendan quickly.
It might be a good day to forget about this
forget about
part of the show if we must, but we can have a look at ugly numbers, guys, as expected, 1.4 for the S&P. The Dow was up 220 at one point today, down half, 2.5 there for the NASDAQ. Yeah, it goes on and on.
Yeah, like I know we said this, like even the names that were strong reversed, right? Like it was literally the small caps and the squeeze plays that were holding it up. Even some of the bigger names started to pull back, like your Boeing.
Out of my chair.
That's just the kind of day that it's been. Of course, in the aftermarket, that's when Virgin Galactic pops to 10 because why wouldn't it, right? Like
Virgin went sub 10. I wasn't.
No. It's still held 10, but it didn't actually make the pop off of $10 till aftermarket. Yes, it's still at the $10 level. This could be in play tomorrow. AMC 20 could be in play tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
Big levels, big levels.
Yeah, that was down 20%. I mean, we should have looked at. I mean, obviously we were looking at it, but wow.
Trade of the day, bro.
No, I know, but like in that last.
Oh, I know it.
Like, I don't think you didn't have. This
I was
short.
long. I covered my short at 03s. I then went long twice at 03.
Right. Okay.
Thinking it could bounce, and then
Got
didn't
it.
get
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what a fantastic day it's been again. A bunch of guests on. Thank you so much for everyone's patronage, and thank you to our guests for coming through again as well. And thank you to Trader Pratt over there in his Adidas jumpsuit, which is kind of funny because the Beastie Boys kind of made these tracksuits a thing. But again, Pratt, you're going to have to do some Wikipedia research there and find out exactly who the I mean, there's a song called, Sabotage,
Oh, Bradley.
Let's just move on from this right now. Pratt, you know what? You follow Trader Pratt at Trader TV Pratt. What is it? Trader TV Pratt for your... Yeah, so follow him. Maybe he'll be tweeting out some Beastie Boy joints tonight. But thank you again to Rob and Lucas. Thank you so much for running the ones and twos. Always a good show with those guys under control. Thank you to Maggie for everything in the back there. And then
She must be busy today. I haven't seen her once.
I saw her a couple times, but yeah, it hasn't been around as much as normal. Good that she's busy, right? We're planning on a bunch of new things for the show and big time movements here as there's contractors in the building. Everything's getting ready to rock and roll. We're doing it for you guys. Big show coming. It's the new year, new stage, new studio. We're really hyped about that one. So for all of us here, Brendan Wickens, Neil Roberts, I'm Sean Katina. Thank you for watching tradertv.live, and we'll catch you tomorrow, 8:30. It's a big Friday. See you then. Ciao.